Well, we should have been up. You saw me hit it. There it is. Didn't like my finger today.
Wake up, piano man. Time to start the show. And here it is.
All right. Enough of that.
Lip sync. That was arm sync.
An arm sync?
Out of sync.
Oh, yeah, that hurt. It was you, Dave. It was your fault. You know, I am flawless. I never miss a beat.
The music was off.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the same every week except this week. Hey, welcome everybody. Happy Saturday.
Oh, I just got a joke here. See, I'm already off the rabbit trail. A mother went to see her son graduate from Marine basic training. Mm-hmm. And they were out on the parade grounds and they're marching in, all the guys. And she says to the people around, look, everybody's out of sync except my son. Marching out of sync.
Everybody, yeah. He's the only one doing it right.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I've had a week. When we left Saturday, was I limping when I walked out of here last Saturday?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it was already that early.
Oh, you had been? For a week you had been?
No. It just started like, I thought it was that day. Maybe it was the day before.
It was on Wednesday. You were at the Republican luncheon. You said you got
Oh, you're right. Thank you. That's right. Man, see.
I remember things.
Yeah, he's good. I'm going to take you along. Especially, listen, I'm going to give you a list of all of my wife and my anniversary, all of my anniversaries.
Grandkids' birthdays.
Her birthday. Yeah, exactly. All of that.
But I got to tell you, you're the poster child. My wife and I are watching because when my wife's meniscus blew out, we went to your doctor, got the same treatment you got. And I kept telling her,
did it work?
And she hasn't had need for anything since.
Wow.
And how long has it been since that injection to get the swelling down? Couple years. And Dr. Labuti, who's your doctor, he says, I think he said 3 to 6 months of relief, right?
Right. 6 months.
And it lasted much longer. And it is for my wife as well.
You see, I didn't realize that it would last as long as it does, and that you could. Well, let me tell you what ended up happening. So last week, you saw that, and it got worse. Finally, I went to the urgent care on Monday.
Okay,
and then after that, they took X-rays and did whatever. They gave me a steroid pack, but it was, I had to go out and I got crutches.
Is this pills, you mean? Steroid pills?
Yeah, it's like a Z pack, only they call it an M pack or something. It's a different. So anyway, but here's the funny thing. So I went and got crutches. So I'm limping around and hobbling on it, and it was just, literally, I could not stand on. In fact, right now it's funny. My knees bothering me a bit right now. I feel something. But it's not that the knee.
It's the other knee.
It's the other knee. Wow. I guess it's been carrying that load. So anyway, I leave there and I set up an appointment with the orthopedic. And all of a sudden, Thursday, this was Monday, Thursday, all of a sudden, I get an email from Walmart Pharmacy. Your prescription is ready. So, a prescription. And it was kind of weird because I thought they were going to give me a prescription at the place, but I never got it. All of a sudden,
at the urgent care?
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, Thursday, there's the prescription there for this steroid. Mm-hmm. And so I took it, and it's just like a Z-Pack. You take 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Is it prednisone? That's kind of the standard
It's not prednisone. It's something else. Begins with an M.
Okay.
But anyway, so... all of a sudden, and I bought these crutches, and I used them for 2 days, and all of a sudden, I'm feeling good.
Wow.
And I think I don't need my crutches anymore. So then I and I tried to set up an appointment with the orthopedic, but I couldn't get in until Friday. So I go in Friday, and he says, yeah, you need knee surgery.
Is this your regular orthopedic guy?
Right. And so instead, they, what's weird though, he says, although this one hurt much more than my other one.
It is prednisone. It's called methylprednisolone, the Impact.
Oh, it's an impact. That's right.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Okay.
Methylprednisolone.
Okay, methylprednisolone. See, this guy checks me on everything. Everything.
Well,
you gotta quit that. No,
it's a different prednisone, though. It's not the poison ivy prednisone. It's a different one.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, doctor.
Yeah.
Pharmacist, everything in one. Anyway, if I may continue.
Oh, yes.
He always jumps in.
Yes, you may.
He always has to correct me.
I give you permission.
That's so white of you, Dave. So white.
The R words being hinted here.
Yeah. He's the whitest person
I've
ever
me
met.
Down.
It just treats me so whitely. Anyway, if I can remember what I was talking about.
After 2 days.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So I went and they gave me another shot.
In the knee.
Yeah. With a needle about this.
I know.
But it's intimidating.
It's scary.
Yeah, it's scary, but it doesn't, it's fine. Or you feel it a little bit and he had blood this time. Last time was right. But anyway, he says, oh, you did? I said, what? What do people... He said, do people cry and yell and scream? He says, sometimes. And I was thinking, and I can imagine if you're not used to long needles. You remember when we were kids?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the first time I went to a dentist and had to have a tooth pulled.
Oh, yeah.
I think I was 7 years old, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the dentist was trying to hide his needle. But it was like, now maybe it was my imagination, but
I always cover my eyes.
I seem to remember the needle being about the what do you call it? That
syringe.
The syringe being a foot long.
It is a big one.
With a 6-inch needle.
It is a long needle, yeah.
Well, but now they've gotten it down to a regular, smaller.
And they're disposables too.
Right. And the needle's still pretty long, depending on how far they have to go in. The new trick that the doctors way back didn't have, they dropped the Novocaine or whatever cane it is. The
Oragel.
No.
Because a lot of times they first give you a gel on a Q-tip to numb.
Well, yeah, but then my dentist, what he does, he'll go lightly around the top and he'll go in a little bit and put a little and then wait and then come back and then go deep.
Yes.
Depending on how deep the work is. Mm-hmm. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked. I'm getting sidetracked again. So anyway, I went and I thought my knee felt so good. I said, man, why did I buy these crutches?
Yeah.
And my daughter-in-law says, take them back.
That's right.
They'll take them back. I said, seriously? I've been using them for almost a week. Mm-hmm. No, they'll take them back. So I'm just not that way. I'm going to keep them because I may need them again. She said, but I have some. You can use mine. Yeah. Well, she's tall. She's probably 5'9" for a young 5'9" or 10. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I could, I'm just not that way. I'm going to keep these crutches and for a rainy day. But anyway, so basically now he told me I need knee replacement. Yeah. And so I started, it's like when they told me I had to have spinal fusion 15 years ago and I never did it. I prayed about it. And in the morning I was supposed to be, no joke, have I ever told this story?
No, but I can imagine your personality. You just change your mind and you don't care.
Well, no, what happened, the guy told me how they were, he says, well, we're going to go in through your back and we're going to go in through your stomach. And all I could picture is him putting a finger,
rotisserie chicken here.
Meet me in the middle,
Pig on a what do you call it?
All right, Dave, I bet you better let me keep talking.
Okay.
So anyway, he said, well, you go home and think about it. Oh, and it was just his attitude. He jumps up on the counter. He's sitting on the counter. All right, what do you want me to do for you? I said, well, nothing. And then
this is the back surgeon you're telling me?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I can see Labooty doing that. Your knee guy.
I hope it wasn't. He doesn't do that. But anyway, he says, what do you want me to do for you? I said, well, I kind of like you to fix my back. Okay, then here's what we're going to do. Da, 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 da. And I was willing to go through my stomach, go to my back and take cartilage or bone from your hip and then graft it and da, da, da. And I'm saying, I'm okay. All right. And then he got to the part. You're going to have to lay on your stomach for 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. Deal breaker right there. Mm-hmm. I just picture myself, I cannot lay on my stomach. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Have you thought about that? Laying on your stomach for 6 weeks?
God.
Exactly. And so I went home and it was like the Garden of Gethsemane prayer. I said, God, if there's any way that this cup may pass, please, this is no joke. That was
it was an earnest prayer.
The next morning, I wake up, turn on Fox News. Commercial. I'd never seen it before, never saw it again. If you've been told by your doctor that you need spinal surgery, call us. We can heal you without it. I kid you not.
Was it Robert Tilton?
Robert, you got it. Anyway, if I may continue. So I call him. Well, bring us your x-rays, come in and see us. And so I get the guy, looks at the x-rays. He said, I don't know if he was able to read x-rays or not. I mean, he was a good sales guy. And he wasn't one of the actual chiropractors. Or he said, oh, yeah, we can fix that. What? So anyway, so I said, okay. So I had good insurance and it took care of, I mean, it was still, I think it was. But the thing that did it was when he said, we'll either heal you or we give you your money back. Ding, I'm in. So I started, and they have this machine. It's called a DRX 9000. And it's a modern version of the rack. If you've seen Princess Bride, where they put the guy on the rack.
Oh, yeah.
Stretching him.
Stretch your spine.
Right. It's called decompression machine.
Yes, it is.
And what they do, put a strap under your arms and then one around your hips. And then this machine, and then it has this vibration going. Anyway, and this machine just pulls you, lets you go. And it was funny because the way my nerves were impinged, that's why I ended up going, because I couldn't walk. I was like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. My pain was so bad, the sciatic. It was just unbelievable. So anyway, making this long story longer, I guess. Anyway, so I went there for about a week and I didn't really see any. And a buddy of mine, in fact, the lead guitar player for Idle Cure, one of my great friends, he said, he had exactly the same thing. So he goes in. He's told pretty much what I was, but then he decided to go to this neurosurgeon. And then they told him about this thing called a microdiscectomy. Well, my deal was that I said, man, I'm going to call a neurosurgeon. So, but they told me I had to wait 6 weeks. That's how far ahead they were. So anyway, and so I decided to fly to, I think it was my daughter's freshman year, or maybe it was her graduation at Pepperdine. I don't remember. But I was flying to California.
To Southern Cal.
And went there, and then we came back, and I was in Dallas, and our car wouldn't start. It wouldn't. So we had to have it towed to this repair place, and then they told us it'll be 2 days because they need some electrical part. It was some electrical part. And finally, we pick it up, and I remember driving from there, and all of a sudden it hit me. Wait a minute, your back doesn't hurt anymore. Nothing. I mean, nothing. I mean, I didn't even have a tinge of pain in my back, my butt, my leg, nothing. And I'm sitting there, and I said, Vicki, and I started doing, wow, my back doesn't hurt.
Did you have that Eddie Murphy, thank you, Jesus, I'm healed? no, Eddie's not that exuberant.
Internally, that's what I was doing.
You were driving down the interstate.
I couldn't believe it. No, we were just driving through Dallas.
Okay.
But I couldn't believe. And then, of course, you know how we often do. We forget the prayer we prayed. Yeah, that got us to where we were.
When trouble leaves, we don't ask where it went.
I can tell you the times of miracles God has done in my life, and I usually forget until a little later.
We're all that way.
That, oh man, I prayed that, and God actually did it. Wow, So anyway, that's just my story there. But so anyway, I'm sorry, I apologize. Now we've taken so long. Basically, you saw me a week ago. You know how bad it was.
It was bad,
and now. Praise the Lord, my knees, it's funny, my right one may need a new shot. No, but after 3 years, but no, I have to say.
Folks, it took him like 5 minutes to get out of his office just to the parking lot, get in his car. And this ain't that big a complex.
No.
It was baby steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to eat a snack first and go to the bathroom.
The kitchen's on the way, yes.
Just kidding. No, I was in pretty bad shape. But anyway, hallelujah, the Lord has healed me
let
once
me
again
ask you something.
using modern medicine to
But
do
let's
it.
talk about that traction thing, because I think people can benefit from
Oh, the
this.
DRX 9000?
But one of the things that's commercially very popular, the teeter hangups concept.
Yeah.
It's kind of that same thing, except it's using your gravity.
Right. And it works too. My son, that's what he used. And I've been thinking of getting one because, but I'm so amazed. What's really amazing is that, as I said, it's been 15 or 20 years now since I went through all of that. And I'm still good just from the treatment back then. The problem with the DRX 9000 in your normal chiropractor is it's so expensive. It's like $100,000 machine or something. A lot of chiropractors don't want to spend that money. And but I do know one that definitely, I think he has several of them now, but he's a very popular chiropractor as well. But there are different versions. They're a little cheaper, like a bed, which has these rollers that roll up and down your spine, which most
chiropractors have that. I think that's called traction or something.
Well, it doesn't. There's no pulling, no traction.
No,
just
but
these
it's
wheels.
a roller that just kind of flexes each vertebrae as it goes up.
As it goes down your back, And what's funny, it's like what they call the dip, when you get that feeling inside when it hits the part in your back and you kind of, and it twice when it goes up and comes back. So anyway, we're making this longer than it needs to be, but modern medicine, praise God. I've thought so many times, what would I have done without God and modern medicine? We are born in an amazing time. Now, I know there are still tragic situations with cancers and different ailments where they haven't found cures for, but so many other things, a decayed tooth that would have killed you maybe eventually, 100, 200 years ago, childbirth, back situations, amputations that you no longer need, or if you do, the technology on new limbs. It's just amazing the time we live in, and we need to thank God every day for it. But ultimately, all of these things, truly, there's nothing like prayer to do it. I mean, seriously, because I wouldn't have known about these things, or I was praying again this week because, my knees were so bad. So anyway, hey, Dave, incredible week we've had. Election.
Oh, yeah.
And
the election, UFC at the White House. We got to talk about that sometime too.
Yeah, there's especially, have you heard the thing about the reflecting pool?
There's that too.
The Washington, D.C. has the mall has this long reflecting pool, and Trump has decided to clean it up because it's fungi has overtaken it, algae.
They just filled it.
They just refilled and cleaned it. And then what happens?
Yeah.
Some vandals, some idiot Democrats come and decide to pour stuff in it and defile it again.
I don't know. I know they did charge one guy with ripping some of that coating that Trump had put on, ripping that out.
Yeah. It's just, childish. This is one of the signs of the end.
Yeah.
I believe.
Now, it was an Oklahoma company that Trump turned to. I think it's called Midwest Coatings.
Who are you going to call?
Yeah. But the problem, and this is what happens when you get in a rush, some people speculate that coating needed more time to cure.
Yeah, but they didn't give it time to cure.
Exactly.
So, I mean, if it's got to take time to cure, then these people...
No, there's more than that going on, because then when the algae comes in, for whatever reason, now they dumped a ton of peroxide in there. Here's the problem with this. It's not like a normal swimming pool. It's very shallow, but it's like, a quarter mile long or something like that?
Yeah, I would say.
And so circulating that water so that everything stays treated and clear is a challenge. And really, it wasn't designed that way. But anyway, getting back to this, you dump a bunch of peroxide in, and if that coating hasn't cured, some people are saying, that it may be deteriorating from being exposed to these chemical reactions.
But it wasn't there long enough for that to happen. In other words, it wasn't it. I mean, it was just newly done.
Yeah.
And these idiots decide they're going to.
This is a problem when you don't have reliable media because you got spin everywhere. And I've heard a lot of things. People have called me and told me things. It was actually a friend of mine, Chance Tinker, that said it was actually an Oklahoma company that Trump gave the contract to. You know,
but to me, the real thing is you don't have guards. You don't have mall guards I mean, this thing is in front of the Lincoln Memorial, basically.
Yeah, they should have cameras everywhere.
Cameras, and I would have security guards. I mean, you know, pay somebody. If you have park people, why not, you know?
Here's the tricky thing, because my friend Chance Tinker, who filled in for you a couple of weeks ago, he used to work for the aquarium there in Jinx. And they deal with saltwater pools and, you know, sharks and all kinds of ocean life. And you got two things going in. They want this to be a reflecting pool, okay? They don't want water currents in it. It's part of the charm of it is that it's placid, right? But that's not how you keep it cleaned and recycled and stuff. So you got, you know, what they should do is at least at night, maybe have water flowing in one end and sucking out the other end.
And going through a filtration.
Right. Because it's very hard to filter something like that. It's not a swimming pool.
Right.
You know, very shallow and very long. And how do you keep it all treated? So they're learning as they go.
Yeah. Well, look at it this way. How long has it been empty?
Well, they drained it for this, but that's only been like maybe a month.
Yeah, but there was a period of time earlier because several years ago when my wife and I went, it was empty.
Oh, okay.
And so it's not like it's a recent, somebody just now decided to do something. I think Trump decided we want to fill it and we want to have it look good.
Yeah, I know. The funny thing is they can have it just right there at ground level, just smooth across there. And yet my neighbor's pool, in-ground pool, they got to have special fencing and childproof locks and everything. And this is open to the public, which that's not my point really, though, is all kinds of crap blows across the mall and lands in there. Yeah. So every so often you got to drain it and get the crap out.
Well, the reason people have to have a privacy fence is insurance. For insurance companies, the question they ask, if you have a pool, do you have a privacy fence? Now, what a lot of people are doing.
There is, but there's municipal. In a lot of cities, there's municipal ordinance.
But that's not the main reason. The main reason is insurance. You can't get your house insured if you don't. And so a lot of people, what they do, they have a double fence. They have like a 4-foot chain link around the pool, and then they still have the privacy fence. So, but that's one of those things that I had a pool once, but it was amazing. I remember first time I was when we first got into a house, it was a rent house, but going to there's a place at Lewis. It's 71st and Lewis, and I
think it's Crystal Pools.
Yeah. And what they had you do, you have to bring a sample of your water.
Oh, yeah.
And then they tell you exactly what you need, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. Great service. They sell a lot of chemicals that way.
It's amazing, too, that, you know, within 48 hours, boom, the pool is beautiful, nice, clear, and clean. You know. So anyway, enough discussion about that. But anyway, so the thing I told Dave I really wanted to talk about and start with again.
Here we go.
Is continuation. Texas Tech, that whole Sorsby situation has been somewhat sorted out. Brandon Sorsby came from Cincinnati, transferred to Texas Tech, chose Tech over LSU. But ever since he made that transfer, it's like everybody and their mama is after Texas Tech. And so a judge basically said the kid could play in the actual case was deferred because of the docket full and everything. They decided to defer it until February of next year, which was well after the season is over. So everybody's freaking out saying, well, he can't play. We can't have this. And so lawsuit, the Big 12 decided, was considering suing. That's phase one. Then our idiotic...
Suing who?
Texas Tech.
Okay.
Our idiotic and I'm going to say moron of an attorney general who is running for governor decides he needs to chime in. Oh no, they're reading the law wrong. I know the law, and they need the conference needs to sue them. Mm-hmm. Well said, Mr. OSU.
Yes,
who happens
he's an alumni.
Who also happens OSU also happens to have Cody Campbell. No, not Cody Campbell. I forget it. The coach, the new coach, is a Texas Tech alum.
Yeah.
What should have happened, he should have said, oh, that's how you feel about it. Okay, I'm out of here. Get you another coach. Because he played for Mike Leach.
Right.
And
the great Mike Leach.
Yeah. And so if he had said, okay, if that's what you want, I'm out of here. Get you another coach. I'm going wherever. But I'm sure he's not going to do that. But I'm sure he's not happy about Drummond jumping into this thing, which he has really nothing to do with. Now, I want to get to the deeper point, because a lot of people think, oh, you're just an alum that's trying to take up for your school. Yes, I am. But here's the deal. Brandon Sorsby came to Tech in January of this year. In fact, it might have been February, because it was after the bowl games. It was after all, but there was no football being played. So he decided between LSU, there was a big, everybody, the news media, sports media was all saying, will he go to LSU or will he go to Tech? And it's funny because he was ranked the number one quarterback in the nation until he decides to go to Tech. Then all of a sudden, now you got the guy from where is it, Iowa State or a different one. Maybe it was Brigham Young. I can't remember. But there's somebody else who happened to then transfer to Indiana. He's the new Indiana quarterback, and he came from a Big 12 school.
Yeah, so Mendoza's gone, the Heisman at Indiana.
Right, and they got this new one that I'm still trying to remember. It's a Big 12 school.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, now he's the big guy, and it's like they've been after Brendan Sorsby from the beginning. Tech just won the battle between the guy. He never gambled there or anything. All of a sudden, it's revealed that he's been gambling. Mm-hmm. Okay. He gambled at Cincinnati. He gambled at Indiana. He started at Indiana as freshman. I think he played one game or came in a couple of plays or something, but he wasn't really. But it started at Indiana and continued. I think he bet like 90,000. I think it's $90,000 or $900,000 in bets that he made over time. And all of a sudden, this comes out as he goes to Texas Tech. Mm-hmm. And so now everybody's got the torches and pitchforks out to go after Texas Tech, who didn't know about it, just found out about it after the fact. The guy never played it down for them, but they're supposed to be the ones wrong. A judge said the kid can play, and I was in this Facebook battle with this guy, Tech, this, and the judge, he's one of their. The judge went to Rice and TCU, never had anything to do with Texas Tech.
Or Big 12.
Or Big 12. Well, TCU, I guess.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, but usually at graduate school, it's not, it doesn't mean as much as
you're right.
But all the stuff going around and these people trying everything, and usually it's weird. It's not so much from OU fans. There are some OU fans, but it's OSU fans.
Well, of course, because they're in the conference.
Oh, they're still in the conference. That's true. That could be why. But anyway, and so enter our attorney general who decides he's going to jump into it. Sure. Now, if that wasn't politics.
Well, it's part of his job, don't you know, is to interfere with Texas lawsuits.
Yeah, he's not just the attorney. He's the attorney general of the world.
He's God in the conscience of America.
Oh, it's just, I said, why do you, well, I know why. He's pandering to OSU fans, but I'll be honest. Yes. I have a feeling that, honestly, I don't think OSU fans give a rip. As long as their team does well. Yeah. That's how you act about it. I don't get involved in, and it's weird, the schools that are upset about this. Nebraska isn't, all upset about it. And Michigan. Oh yeah, Michigan was a big, and Michigan, who's had two scandals. It started with their coach that resigned and left to play become San Diego or LA Chargers, the LA Chargers coach, and the school had a slap. And then the next coach is in a scandal by pursuing one of their trainers or a female.
Oh, the Michigan case.
Michigan. And Michigan's got the gall to talk about Texas Tech, who had nothing to do with this. And the problem is they've got a contract with this kid, an NIL contract, and they can't interfere because then he comes back and sues Tech. Yeah. So Tech says, I'm sorry, we can't do it. We're staying out of it once the courts come down with a verdict. The verdict came down. The kid can play. And then if Tech said, oh, no, we're not going to let him play, then there's another lawsuit. I mean, it's ridiculous that people don't really read the full accounts of what's going on. The only innocent party is Tech, in a sense. They got messed over. They didn't know they were drafting a kid that was gambling. And then once it's discovered, all of a sudden they're the bad people. Yeah. You know, it's just crazy. Now, the good news is people are now dancing a little bit, think, oh, they're not going to have a good quarterback. No, we do have a good quarterback. He just injured his knee. He was the backup last year. Really good. He can run and he can throw. He's like Sorsby. But he injured his knee, and they figure he'll be ready by game 3. Okay. So just wait,
let me
people. It's not over.
Because remember, I brought this up in one of our podcasts last winter. I'm trying to remember exactly when, but there was some Venmo memos that other people can see where he made some money transfers saying gambling debts. And he was not, I don't believe he was yet transferred to Texas Tech at that time.
I think he must have been.
Or maybe he was right about, because I know you were kind of defending him because he was one that they were trying to get at Tech. And you're saying, hey, we don't know. Yeah. You can't try, But
that would have been early January, because that's when it came to a head of him in Tech and LSU.
Okay, but you're going to like this, Eddie. So let me finish this and you'll like, yeah.
You know what I'm going to like, David.
No, you will. Here's the thing. The NCAA had enough information to act then. They did nothing. They said nothing. Texas Tech then feels like, oh, okay, there must be nothing to it. Let's pursue this guy. Let's commit a bunch of NIL money to him. Let's play by the rules. Texas Tech does all this. And then after he's there, then they go after him. I'm saying, Eddie, that Texas Tech has a legitimate lawsuit against the NCAA for failure to timely police this matter.
And the Big 12. Yeah. If they knew before it came out.
Not the Big 12 because, well, maybe Cincinnati, you're right. But Indiana was not Big 12.
No. What I'm saying is because in addition to the NCAA, in fact, Gentner Drummond and others are telling the Big 12 they need to continue because they've already spent a bunch of money on this thing going after Tech. Getting some
Tech is innocent.
Well, right. But these people, you've got people, including Gentner Drummond, telling them to continue to pursue it now for trying to get their money back now for the lawsuit they never should have filed in the first place.
Yeah, it's garbage. Because what I told you last week, Eddie, is the only innocent party in this is Texas Tech. Okay, unless Texas Tech, you can prove some way that they hid information that they knew was damning, right? And tried to cover it. Right. But clearly, Indiana had some answering to do for what went on there,
especially Cincinnati, right? Especially because that's where the bulk of it occurred, right?
Right. In my crux last week, Eddie, I said to you, how do you punish Sorsby for what he's admitted to without punishing Texas Tech? That's the thing that I wish there was justice on that. And I said, maybe you make him forfeit all of his NIL money. That would make him punished. And it would relieve a lot of money back to Texas Tech, who's innocent in this.
Well, here's the deeper truth that a lot of people are missing, because one reason that people are pointing at Tech, but in doing so, it could generate a broader scandal that there are probably multitudes of kids being paid
Sure.
and having gambled,
of course,
all over the place. And if somebody, that's why you notice for some reason, well, Georgia was another one that was attacking tech, but if somebody took a deep, one of those schools that was strangely quiet is the University of Texas. And, Texas A&M and several of the top tier teams have remained silent. Ohio State hasn't said anything. Michigan, I don't know why in the heck they would open their mouths.
Here's the other thing. You and I grew up listening to Keith Jackson, right? If you're into college football, especially young aspiring athletes looking to play for one of these schools, such as you suited up for Texas Tech. So what do you, if you're one of those kids today, 17, 18 years old, and it's Saturday morning, and by God, if mom and dad don't have a subscription to ESPN, you're whining for them to get one. What are you going to get full of on ESPN? Gambling solicitations, DraftKings, all that stuff. And so I'm saying is the same people are saying don't gamble are the ones getting paid off to tell kids to gamble.
If you watch the games, you watch the NCAA football games, DraftKings, every third commercial, it's like gamble.
Right.
And there's not just them. There's all kinds of parlays you can do and gamble here and gamble here and gamble there. Yeah. And it's like telling kids don't drink or don't smoke, but then you're continually promoting alcohol.
Is it against the rules for an athlete to get an NIL deal with DraftKings or some other gambling website? Sports gambling.
I don't know.
See, because we saw Libby Dunn getting all kinds of money from makeup and apparel and all kinds of businesses, and Jimbo Fisher saying, hey, the kids ought to be able to do those outside things, just limit how much the schools are on the hook for NIL, right? That's part of the legislation.
Yeah, well, to me, here's the deal. Okay, here's how I look at it. What the rules should be that if you're 18 or whatever age it is legally to gamble, to drink, to whatever, okay? If you're at that age and you're able to do it, do it. Now, the only thing they need to do is manage the control. So in other words, if you go to Texas Tech, if you go to Texas, if you go to OSU, OU, and you believe in your school, especially if you're the quarterback, you want them to bet on your school, on your own school. It's if you ever bet on the other school, that's when the throwing the game.
Yeah, I go further than you because I think you have insider information and it gives you an advantage over everybody else in the system. And I think
what kind of insider? Like we're better than them?
You know how bad that hamstring really is, despite what they're reporting to the public.
On the other team.
On your team or the other team.
No, but that's what I'm saying. No, but what I'm saying is, no, if you're betting on your team, then it has nothing to do with the other team.
But along with betting on your team, there's also, why did this guy not bet on his team this week when he's bet on it every other week?
No, I'm saying.
Or why did he lower his bet? That's insider information,
lower his
Eddie.
bet on his own team?
Yes.
Yeah,
because you know some things about the injury report and all kinds of, maybe a scandal's going to blow over, hit in a couple of days that the rest of the world doesn't know, but you do.
Now, listen, if you're betting on your own team, you want your team to win every week. You do not want, I'm hurt now.
I understand that, but it's just, if all of a sudden to save your money when you know there's just, this one's going to hurt. You're not like you want to win, but you're not as likely to. You don't put as much money. That's insider information. That's a whole different thing.
So you're saying that he can't work that way because if all of a sudden he's saying, I'm not going to bet on us because we're going to lose.
I don't think
that quarterback would be fired.
I think you just if people say you can bet on anything except a game that you're involved in, you can't bet on that game.
Okay.
It's a lot easier that way because then it's not about
then
whether
Sorsby,
you're going to throw
that's the other
game.
thing. Sorsby says he never bet on his own team.
Yeah, I get that.
He
That's
only
fine.
bet on other teams.
You're talking
so now
about,
you're saying that would have been okay. I'm taking a step further.
Right.
I would love for, if I had a quarterback, whatever, who believes in his team enough.
From the standpoint of corruption, throwing a game, Black Sox scandal, all that, yes, I'm agreeing with you there. And if you're betting on your team, you're certainly not going to throw it. I get that. I'm talking about a whole nother issue of insider information affect how much you bid, how much you don't bid. When you don't do it, it's just...
well, why would I have insider information? Let's say I played for OU, and I'm playing Alabama.
You're gambling against the house, and the house has this data that everybody else doesn't.
But who's the house?
DraftKings. They set the odds. They set the payout.
Right, but I play for OU.
I understand.
So I'm betting on OU.
But what I'm saying
I don't care what the DraftKings say.
It's just easier if you say don't bet on a game that you're involved in, and because otherwise you're just going to create a much bigger issue. Maybe not for an athlete, but for DraftKings or anyone else who has that insider information. You're creating it. It's just like Wall Street. If you're
freshblackcoffee@gmail.com if you want to comment on this. freshblackcoffee@gmail.com. Or can they comment on our freshblack.coffee?
Sure.
Freshblack.coffee. That's even easier. Freshblack.coffee. Give us your opinion if kids should be able to bet on their own team.
Yeah.
Versus the other team.
And I know I'm completely in another area than whether a kid's going to throw a game.
And I say kids. I mean, we're talking whatever the law. If it's 21, I don't know what is gambling. Is it 21 or is it 18?
Should be 18.
I'll see.
I think everything should be. If it's legal for anyone, it's legal from 18 up. I don't believe in this 21 stuff.
Yeah, well, really, honestly, what they should do is say, whatever age you're old enough to go fight and die for your country.
That's exactly it.
That's the age
we fought that battle. You were part of that because you could be drafted at 18, but you couldn't vote.
You couldn't vote, right.
And that's why they changed that. The voting age dropped down.
Yeah.
And it should have for everything. But then, they decide, no, we can punish these college kids. They get drunk too easily. That's what they did.
Too often. Let's take all their joy from them. Yeah. So anyway.
I think it's unconstitutional.
It's been thrown out there for you guys to comment on. Freshblack.coffee if you want to comment.
Yeah.
All right. Enough of that. We'll put that aside for another day. We'll see what happens.
But we agree Texas Tech is the only entity of everybody named that's innocent.
They're innocent. And for Gentner Drummond to stick his Weasley mouth or face into it is just another reason why you should not vote for him. Okay. So there's a California town that has gone really big. It's funny. The headline says California town bet big on socialism. There's a town called Richmond, California.
Okay.
And they're, according to this Fox News .com article, they're the most socialist city in America. They basically thrown in the towel. They basically don't want any tax money going, well, not any, but they've cut the budget of the police, fire, all the social services, cut it way down, which is kind of interesting because that's almost going more capitalist when they're saying you got to make your own money or, we're going to leave more money to the people. But at the same time, what they're doing, they have lots of social programs to feed the poor and take care of this and the that and that, So, but anyway, they have these anti-business policies, defund the police movement, hate Israel, they pro-Palestine. Every leftist idea that's out there, this town has adopted it.
Yeah.
So we'll wait and see how that happens. But one of the fears is slowly it's creeping through America, New York City, Boston, DC, and on the West Coast, almost all the major cities of the West Coast have adopted these more and more socialist ideals. And the other thing is then the scary part is that a lot of these people have begun migrating to the states that still have sense. And Oklahoma is one of them. Tulsa, all of your major cities, or particularly where universities are, you take Norman, Tulsa, Stillwater, Oklahoma City. Those towns are slowly making us purple from our red, and it's something to keep an eye on.
It's very much an urban-rural thing, isn't it?
Right, it is.
Yep.
And thank goodness for all of our rural communities still that.
Yeah, this would be a perfect segue for this. The state question on raising our minimum wage, constitutionally mandated, it only won in 3 counties. It didn't even win Payne County, where Stillwater, OSU is, but it got close to 60% in Tulsa, Oklahoma County, Tulsa County.
Well, that's 40. It was like 57 to.
Yeah, close. I'd say no city, I think, did it get above 60%.
Okay.
But in some counties, it got less than 25%.
Right now, let's say Tulsa, the cities we mentioned, Stillwater, Tulsa, Norman, and Oklahoma City, how did it do there?
I don't have the city numbers. I have the county numbers. Is all further I went. Oh. No county did it reach 60%. Yes. Okay. Only 3 counties did it exceed 50%.
Oh, okay.
But it happened to be the 2 biggest ones.
Tulsa and Oklahoma City. Yeah.
And but where it lost by as much as a 3-1 margin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Tulsa, honestly, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, I don't want to say you can throw the towel in, but Tulsa has been totally taken over by
here's
leftists.
The thing.
People like Lori Dector Wright, who moved here from San Francisco and is trying to do the things that made San Francisco what it is.
I don't mind her getting out of San Francisco. I do want her to get San Francisco out of her.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That goes without saying.
That's the problem, is a lot of times they don't think it through. All these rosy, romantic feelings of socialism, they hang on to.
Here's what really gets me. I've spoken to one time and seen her from afar a bit. There is an arrogance there that is unparalleled.
Condescension, kind of, we know more.
Oh, my goodness. We talk about the most haughty, self-absorbed person.
Guess who put more money in than any other Oklahoman in this state question? To my knowledge, it's the Schusterman family foundation. The same ones who said, "You are a racist, Eddie Huff. You are an anti-Semite."
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with them.
But it's probably some trust fund run by a bunch of radicals under the Schusterman name.
I don't know. What is it? Laura Schusterman that wrote this editorial about me, who couldn't pick me out of a lineup.
I wouldn't be surprised if somebody wrote it for her.
Oh, well.
Okay. This is the thing, And a lot of it, I believe, now I'm going to psychoanalyze you, Miss Schusterman. I think it's white guilt. It's trust fund baby guilt. You didn't earn it, and you feel guilty about having more than the rest.
You remember that poem about when they came for the homosexual, the Jehovah's Witness.
It was a Nazi thing.
Right, Nazis coming after the Jews.
Yeah, but I wasn't a homosexual, so I did nothing.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
I was not this, so I did nothing.
And when they came for the Jews, there was nobody left to come take my position, my side, defend me. Yeah, so that's kind of where these liberal Jews in America have essentially painted themselves into a corner. And when it comes to bite them, they're going to, that poem has never resounded more than it does today. Well, maybe around 1936 to 39. Yeah. But it is applicable for today because the liberal social Jews of today are the ones that are playing with fire. They feel that for some reason they need to be the friend of the liberal progressive, and the liberal progressive is the first one that turned on them. And this is what's weird. They somehow in their minds think that Republicans or right-wing conservatives are their enemy when the right-wing conservatives, the Christians, are the best friends of Israel. Mm-hmm. And they're aligning with the people who are on the other side and to their own detriment, to their own end. And it's just weird. And I hope if I were to run again, which I'm not, but somehow these words come back to Lynn Schusterman and every other Jewish leader in this city, and that rabbi who wrote something about who I guarantee you probably can't even pronounce my name.
Yeah,
I hope these people get a hold of this and hear it, because you're playing Russian roulette, basically. Is what
and quite honestly, I'm less convinced that religiously they are Judaic. The fact that they're ethnically Jewish, you got to separate the two.
Yeah, that's true.
Because many of your liberal Jewish activists are atheists. And in fact, I've said that,
Well, look at Karl Marx.
Yeah.
Who basically the initiator of communist Marxism, socialism, communism, is Karl Marx, who was a Jew. He was Jewish.
Yeah. And so,
Abby Hoffman.
Yeah.
All of these, if you go through history and see a lot of the most rabidly left-wing people in every country, they've been, or who started it, were Jewish. It is weird. It is weird to think. And now, I don't know about Karl Marx, what his deal was. I really don't care enough to read about him, but I mean, I know his influence and his so forth. But what gets me is that they have moved so far towards the left, the socialist, anti-capitalism end of things, to their own detriment.
Well, even the nation of Israel is a very socialist nation. And if you are denouncing the faith of your ancestry, how can you even claim some ancestral right to that Holy Land? It's kind of hypocritical.
Yeah.
I don't believe there is a God, but God gave us this land. It's really what they're saying. Both sides of their mouth.
Somebody gave us this land.
Yeah. And I mean, look, there's a bunch of very liberal people that try to exploit their Jewish ethnicity for sympathy in this town and go after you because you're conservative.
Yeah.
That's really what it was.
Well, yeah. And probably, I hate to say this, but I think probably because they fear we're going to mess with their money. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what I can.
They have an agenda.
Or there's another thing. They don't, because of the history of being persecuted and looked down upon, maybe they're afraid that honestly afraid, and they've been brainwashed into thinking that the right-wing conservative people are like the Nazis of Germany, but in essence, they've joined because the anti-Israel and anti-Jewish sentiment has really settled on the left.
Yeah.
In fact, I wrote this article about 30 years ago. The new Jew and the new liberal, new progressive, and the new conservatives, and it basically dealt with how all of these things have changed. The radicals of the 60s and early 70s, there was a purity about what they were really going against. But a lot of those people who came later wanted to recreate that atmosphere as an anti-American, radical, rebellious thing. Yeah. But things had changed. In fact, what I said, the radicals of the 60s and early 70s were young, progressive people at the time, whereas all of the people in power were old and they were men. Now you flip it around, all of the progressive that are in Congress and everything, they're all young. Young people are the people that are trying to, you don't have, you have a few, we'll still have a few 80.
There's a few Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth.
Well, but we got the conservative ones too.
Yeah.
Bob, not Bob Dole, what's his name?
Mitch McConnell.
Bob Dole. But anyway, but this whole thing deals with the new radical and the new conservative, and how things have switched from back in the 60s, the youth of today, and I believe this will happen. You're going to have a flip again at some point. And did I ever tell you about this? We talked about this before, that movie Wild in the Streets.
I don't recall.
Well, it's about the youth movement, and they take over America and everything.
Yeah.
And then they're all happy and they're proud, and we're going to do that. We've done it. We've succeeded. Mm-hmm. And then after it's over, there's this kid fishing on the side, and he's got this, I don't know if it's bait or something he caught, and the guy who led the whole rebellion, he takes whatever it was that the kid had valued, and he killed it. Mm. And flicks his cigarette and walks away. And the final scene is this like 12-year-old kid looking up. You just wait. We're going to get you.
Oh,
that's how I'd say.
Well,
it was almost a prophetic.
Yeah.
Film. I mean, there were so many truly well done prophetic films in the late 60s and early 70s.
Well, that was it, Eddie. You were part of what was called the generation gap era, right? Mm-hmm. The late 60s, the flower children and the protesters.
And Blaxploitation.
Yes.
Blaxploitation, Superfly.
What was the phrase? Never trust anyone over 40.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they turn 40.
Yeah. And then and two of the great examples are Superfly and Foxy Brown was another one, Shaft even. And it's funny because they had their hand on it, where the black preacher and the black politician were as crooked as they could come, and they were bought by the man, and everybody's against the man, and everybody looked down on these preachers and black politicians because they knew they were bought by the politicians who were Democrats. And now all of a sudden, I don't know what happened or how we moved to Germany or to Holland and then Germany. We were gone in that when all of a sudden, I guess it was with the election of Ronald Reagan, somehow the Democrats got them to turn that around. And these Democrat politicians all of a sudden were the good guys, the friend of the black man.
Yeah.
It's just,
of course.
It's crazy.
Look, if you watch Peter Finch in the movie Network, you saw how they took the voice of the rebellion, the common man, and corrupted him.
I'm mad as hell.
And I ain't going to take it anymore. Yeah. It's an incredible movie.
Yeah.
And he died before he got his Academy Award for Best Actor. But it was an incredible movie because it shows you how power corrupts. Eddie, back in 2016, the Libertarian Party finally got sanctioned as an official party in Oklahoma. And probably more than any other journalist, I went there to every one of their conventions and followed it all along because I wanted to see this birth of a new party. And I watched all the problems of the Democrat Party, which I was a part of in Oklahoma, and the Republicans, which I still am a part of. And I watched them face the same kind of corruption, the same kind of hypocrisy. Their very first convention, I'm talking to their newly elected chair. I'm sitting next to her. And I said, so this presidential choice, who do you want to be the Libertarian nominee? And she mentions this Gary Johnson from New Mexico, who's Libertarian in name only. In fact, he picks this very liberal running mate, Weld, out of Massachusetts, very liberal, but had been a, quote, Republican. And I said, so why? She said, well, in order for us to stay on the ballot, we've got to get 7% of the vote this November in Oklahoma. And it's his name recognition that we think is going to help him get the votes. This young guy, Austin, I forget his name, out of Missouri, who's truly a pure libertarian, kind of a Rand Paul, Thomas Massey kind of libertarian. I said, I would think he would be the most pure libertarian choice. And she says, yeah, but we've got to get our 7%. I said, so you're telling me you've been a party now for 3 months and you're already selling out? And she looks at me. This is the chairman of the party. She says, I know, it's terrible, isn't it? She literally admitted we sold out, but she felt like she had no choice or they would die.
Yeah. See, that's the problem. That's the problem you have so often that people don't. It was like way back with Randy Brogdon, and I said, and so many of these conservatives, and I said, you have gone so far right that you come back around and you're leftist because they have they have different things they want, but they want to use the same means as these guys over here to get their way.
Yeah.
And so they're anti whatever establishment is. Which puts them to the left then.
Yeah.
It's just...
Well, you think about what's happening right now with women's sports in the transgenders. Remember, probably the most powerful part of the Democrat leftist progressive movement of the 70s was the women's lib. National Organization One. Betty Ford was a member of NOW. While she was first lady, she went to their conventions, everything. Very powerful force. And the Democrats who claim to champion them are now selling them out for transgender opportunities. Well, it's just stupid. Oh, Rush Limbaugh said this great. He said that the leftists are now championing the cause of nature and animals because they can't speak and undermine the lies of those who claim to be speaking for them. Because the left was all about the Nicaraguan people suffering under, American, oppression and everything. And then they voted to get rid of the Sandinistas and like, oh my God, they're stupid. They're championing their cause until they can no longer exploit them. It would be like Ilhan Omar to talk about why she's for gay rights as an Islamic woman. Think about it.
Or vice versa. Yeah.
Yeah. It's asinine. It's all about exploiting issues because the solution is more socialism.
Well, yeah, but see, I think it's deeper than that. I think most of these people want either power or money or both. And they really don't care. They find a cause that they can jump onto, and that's going to be their ticket for Sandy Omar, okay, which is her real name, Sandra Ocasio-Cortez, and but anyway, that's what happens. The bald-headed black lady, the other one from Detroit, the real nasty one. I mean,
the Palestinian,
and all these, and
Tlaib,
Tlaib, and so they're not what they look like now. It's not exclusive to the Democrats. We have a lot of Republicans that are saying that they're just power-driven people.
Sure.
All they want is power, have their name in lights or in the newspapers, and get money while they're at it. I think I may have talked about this before. Way back in the 70s when I was still kind of radical, my mother used to listen to this conservative program in El Paso, Texas, okay? And this lady calls in, elderly, and said, I ain't never voting for another one of poor boys. We need rich guys to run for president. And I'm thinking, what? This is against everything. It made me, and the host said, that's kind of backward. Why would you say it? He said, because rich boys don't need our money. They got their own money. They can look out for the country. These poor boys, they decide they want to get rich while they're in office. And I've never forgotten that. I honestly, I don't remember another program on that station, but I will never forget this elderly. She must have been in her 80s, late 80s, 90s, because she had the cracked voice, And she said, God save us from these poor boys. And it made me think, and it was funny, she was attacking Richard Nixon because, she felt Nixon enriched himself in office, you know. But she was saying, and it's so funny, it really hit later when, well, through Reagan and then, of course, even more so when Clinton came in, you know, poor Arkansas. You know, it sounds like the great story of from poverty to the heights. You know, Obama's another one, you know. And
they climb fast.
They climb. But when you see what they've done and what they continue, like Obama, the biggest hypocrite on earth.
Sure.
At least the Clintons keep their stuff on the down low. Obama buys $30 million beach house and he flies all over. And Michelle and her kids are on vacation all over the world, and she takes an entourage with her. You know, it's like the typical scene of somebody that's never had anything decides they're going to. You remember Eddie Murphy's the first one, Trading Places?
Yeah.
Where he gets this job, and all of a sudden he has a party, and all his friends come in and destroy his house, and he finally throws them out and everything. It's like that. It's like you don't know how to act when you get somewhere, right? And so, but I'll never forget that. And so I see a lot of that still going on, especially in the Democrat Party. Not exclusive to them, you know. Republicans, you've got them too that get there, and all they want is the power and the money, but they put forth a good game. They say all the right words and are at the right things and da 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 da, but it's really a trick. And so, anyway, it
helps if they're a fighter pilot, though. You know, it's just, I don't think fighter pilot's going to be one of those things you push your campaign on anymore. You know, Adam Pugh ran for superintendent, and it came in like 5th place. And he was a darling. I don't know what happened to that. I thought he was like going to be John Cox's. Well, now John Cox didn't even make the runoff.
Yeah, he got beat out by just a bit. Well, why don't we switch now?
Okay.
Click.
All right, we're talking election results.
Election results. Okay, yeah. Let's start at the top.
All right.
Oh, which is the top? Do we do the congressional or do we go state?
It's a shorter list to go
federal
through
the federal.
Yeah, federal delegation. Yeah.
All right. So, well, Congressman Hearn, who was running for Senate, the primary for Senate, I don't think I had any doubt.
It was no contest.
Yeah, nobody.
Well, nobody of note
right.
ran against him. Nobody with any money ran against him.
Right. So we'll just put that one. Everybody knows what happened and what's going to happen. Okay, so, but then we get to the real juicy one, the one that has legs for a while, and that is the congressional race for the District 1 representative.
Yeah.
And that's where Jackson Lahmeyer and Mark Tedford and a few others, but those are the two main names.
They ended up being the top 2 vote getters.
Right, by quite a bit.
And really, Kim David underperformed. You know, she was a corporation commissioner, a leader in the Senate previously, had amassed quite a war chest, you know, in recent years. And so I don't know what happened.
It's interesting, too, that both of the front runners came from the same side of the state. Yeah.
And then now Cochran... Well, no, wait a minute. The first congressional district is
I'm
Tulsa
sorry.
area.
That's right. I'm sorry.
But Cochran poured a lot of money, didn't get much. Butterfield. And Butterfield's big thing was he had Vic Regalado, the Tulsa County Sheriff's endorsing.
That really was weird. I didn't understand because I didn't even know who he was until he spoke at the Republican Men's Club.
Yeah, I think it's just some money to burn. You know, and had some friends. So, you know, those were a couple of names that came out in that race that I was like, who are they? Boy, they're spending a lot of money and really got nothing.
Yeah.
It really did come down to those 2 top players. Now, of course, Trump got involved. Remember, Jackson Lahmeyer had a long-standing relationship with Stone. Oh, what's it?
Oliver Stone.
Not all.
No, Oliver Stone. What is his name?
Roger Stone.
Roger Stone. Yeah.
So yeah, and Roger is for a fee, he will get you connections. This is what happens when somebody wins a presidency. A lot of the people that got him involved don't become part of his government. They become influence peddlers.
Right.
And Roger's just one of them. Some of them I'm on first name basis with. that have set up influence peddling.
It's weird.
offices.
Roger Stone, from the time I saw him, he just looked shady.
Yeah.
Looked slimy. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know for certain, but I'm just saying, what is he wearing? The old pinstripe suits and looked almost like a zoot
I mean,
suit.
he was a Nixon staffer. That's how far back he goes. And then he owned the National Enquirer, or at least ran it, so, but here's the thing. I know two people that hired him, Mike Mazie and Jackson Lohmeyer. There may have been others who hired him, but his fees are pretty high. Mm-hmm. In fact, this explains it, because Roger Stone went after Mark Tedford's campaign consultants. And I'll tell you the backstory. My friends over
at first,
my friends at Tomahawk, Josh Wagner and John Freeze, so Tomahawk Consulting. They've had plenty of clients. Gettner Drummond's been a client. Lohmeyer, back when he ran for U.S. Senate. And I got a call from Tomahawk saying, we're pulling out of the Jackson Lohmeyer campaign. This was against Langford.
Oh, way back in Langford. Yeah.
And I said, so what is it? He says, well, we just really don't have much say in it. They want to go ahead and spend $20,000, as I best remember, a month to Roger Stone, on the promise. Roger Stone said, I will be able to bring in about $100,000 a month in campaign donations nationally, and was on that promise. And whether he performs or not, he's still going to charge him $20,000. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Trump never did endorse Lohmeyer in that race.
Right.
Okay. But because the guys at Tomahawk, I'm talking Josh Wagner and John Fritz, that's a Tulsa-based campaign consulting, they have bad blood with Roger Stone. And Rogers worked with Clay Clark here, a local guy who's all in for Jackson Lohmeyer then and has been in. So then Tedford becomes one of the clients for Tomahawk. Right? When he ran for the House and different things, and several other people, friends of yours and mine, friends of the show. And so they decided they're going to help Tedford. So when Trump removes his endorsement of Lohmeyer and goes further than says, I am now endorsing Mark Tedford.
Yeah, but that was not until after the scandal.
Right. After the scandaling. Now, Roger Stone says, all I can say is, essentially, Mark Tedford has two of the stupidest people running his campaign. And posted that on Facebook, and Josh Wagner says, I think I'm going to frame this one. This is too good, because they just laugh. Because, Roger Stone is connected to scandal after scandal after scandal. And this is the kind of thing.
Where there's smoke.
Yeah. And sadly, and I'm not just a Christian, I am a graduate of a Rainbow Bible Training Center, as is Jackson Lohmeyer. And Jackson Lohmeyer's, the incident in texting that first came out was talking about his latest trip to Mar-a-Lago, and then the cocaine incident that Jackson claims, no, I'm not into that. I don't do that. But they're going to a strip club. And who's going with them? Craig Hagan, grandson of Kenneth E. Hagan. And Craig Hagan, since then, has been totally booted out of Kenneth Hagin Ministries completely. It is about as much of a disavowing as I've ever seen. And I'm just saying, you got a certain religious / political bunch that are being exposed. And it's just so sad when I think of how great a man Kenneth E. Hagin was, and all the time and ministry and interaction and learning I did from him, and to see what's happened to that organization.
Yeah, this brings me we're going to move to somebody else.
Okay.
No, we're going to stay here. But this whole thing, I even posted on Facebook about callings, giftings and callings, spiritual giftings and callings.
We've talked about it.
You have kings and you have priests.
Yeah.
And the two don't go together. Mm-hmm. Prophets, king, priest, and I guess we argued about it because I'm looking at your face.
But Peter said you are a royal priesthood, which is a king and a priest. But that's in a different realm, in a different world.
In a different, context.
Yeah.
So, right. Every one of us has, but that is an individual priesthood. In other words, we can pray
Not
and
of
intercede.
This world.
Right. We can intercede to God on behalf of our families.
Unless you're a dominion preacher, a kingdom now preacher.
Yeah. Oh, man, let's not even, don't even say that right
Eddie,
now.
I think that's a little bit of what's going on here.
I didn't even think of that. But okay, so to keep on topic, so basically, I think you've already ruined my
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. But anyway, we've got too many Christians that see somebody that's spiritual, that, he'll make a great, he's going to change the country, he's going to change this and that, and I say, no, it's not great. The reason Jerry Falwell, Billy Graham, all of these people were influential and had say is because they stayed on the side. They were priests and prophets that could speak to power. They could speak to the king. But when you get these guys that think, well, I'm spiritual, now I'm going to move into, to me, it's egotistical. In other words, my church isn't big enough. I'm not powerful enough. I'm not important enough. So I'm going to seek it over here. And then you end up in trouble. So what our leaders, take Trump, you name him, whoever the president is, they need somebody spiritual that is truly gifted in that, or prophetic, and that can speak into their ear and have influence to cause them to rule righteously. You go back to David, Solomon's son, Jeroboam, did not have that. Okay. Yeah, he had friends, his buddies were his. So that's the difference there. And I think also too many people get hoodwinked by a good, like we had Jackson speak at the Tulsa Republican, and I've seen him a couple times, and he's a very good, very convincing speaker and so forth. And yet discernment always told me, in other words, well, you and I both, neither one of us thought he should be it even before the scandal. Yeah. We just didn't feel right about it. There was something that was not right about it. And so we stuck with that. But there were so many people that just felt, well, he's a godly man, he's a Christian guy. And then all of a sudden this blows up. And I think it's a tragedy. I think it's tragedy. I grieve for his family. Well, and the congregation. Yeah. Let me say one other, hold that thought. The other thing that really kind of bothered me when I found out that somebody wrote about this, the fact that he has decided he's going to continue taking his salary from the church while he's in Washington. Mm-hmm. And it's, no, wait a minute. If you feel called now to be a congressman, be a congressman, live on that and release that to the church. You're just draining your church and you're not there. It's, well, I'll come back every week or 2 weeks and still preach. Come on. You're just creating more and more expense. If you feel called to that, do that. Don't do this, So that was one of that one really ticked me out even before all of this came out. So.
Well, here's where I'm at. Because, back, 5 years ago, I ran for Republican Party vice chair, Oklahoma. Okay. Because I wanted to have John Bennett's back. John was one of those guys pastoring and a politician. And boy, could he rival or stir up a crowd, right? And he had the rhetoric. Oh, they are smooth talkers. But I just saw a lot of phoniness. And I disavow. I will not support him for leadership. I sat down with him last year convention, we tried to work out some things because we had guests on the show that exposed some things. And I like, John, you got to make your case. And I listened to him, but I just no longer can support him in that role. And I think here's what it is. There's a lot of very pure people want to serve God. The trappings of power corrupts the purity. And it's, Henry Kissinger said, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Power is something that is very potentially dangerous.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, anyway, we are here now. And as I said, it just worries me when you get people. You and I think we're pretty much the same. We can discern these things, that there's something not right here. This person's. Oh, do you remember seeing the movie? It's the Mel Gibson movie, Vietnam. We were young once.
No,
we were young once in something. It was a Vietnam movie, and I think I talked about this a few weeks ago. And he and his sergeant major were standing on a hill watching these guys do exercises and practice on attacking.
Yeah.
And the sergeant major said to him,
we were soldiers.
We were soldiers once and young. Yeah. Anyway. And so they're watching these guys and look at that one. He looks like a good one. And what's his name? Mel Gibson says, no, he's too eager.
Yeah.
He's too eager. And sure enough, later when they went to battle, he ended up getting killed, and I think he got his whole platoon killed. And the other guy who Mel Gibson really did like, he ended up being, a hero and really. In
the annals of West Point back 150 years ago, the same was said about a young guy named George Custer. What happened to him?
Eager.
He was very eager.
Is that really? That's
most
true?
Of his service he spent stationed here in Oklahoma.
Oh.
Yeah. And quite a bit of time he was at Lawton. And I'm trying to think what else, some of the different
Fort Sill. Fort Sill is in Lawton.
Right. And he just wanted to make a name for himself because to them, they saw, Ulysses S. Grant, followed the same path. Before him, there were several other presidents who had been military leaders. And even since then, you've got Teddy Roosevelt, you got, Dwight Eisenhower. We've had a number of, it's been a while since we've had a military guy rise to the presidency. Mm-hmm. I think Eisenhower would be the last one you'd say truly was career military, even though both Kennedy and Nixon were officers.
Right, but they were lower officers.
Exactly.
They weren't leaders.
Exactly.
Right.
Fact is, you could say that about a whole bunch of them because Bush, I think Bush, I don't know if he actually was.
He was a pilot,
but I don't know if he was an officer. I don't think you had to be an officer to be a pilot.
No, he was back then.
No, well,
You're talking about W or HW?
HW.
No, he was. He was an officer.
He signed up at 17.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What age you were. Once you got to a certain part, he wasn't 17 when he got shot down and rescued.
But his dad was Prescott, U.S. Senator.
Well, Al Gore was.
Yeah, exactly. So, sometimes it's connections gets you there. I hate to say it.
Yeah, but Al Gore didn't get close to getting shot down.
Right, but McCain's dad was an admiral.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get there because of whose kid you are.
He was the anchor of his class.
Yeah.
In other words, he graduated at the bottom of his class.
So, but getting back to your thing, you're too eager and stuff like that.
Yeah, too eager. And so that was one of the things that got me in. And once you, I don't know, separating ministry and calling to politics, the two shouldn't, to me, it's like oil and water. You need strong, good ministers to speak into the public square.
Yeah.
And not lead the public square.
You know what? I'm going to quote an old coworker, yours and mine, Fred Gage. Mm. When I joked about him one day, we were at the office and he's singing a tune, and I thought I'd have a little joke at expense. I said, Fred, what'd you do with that money? He says, what money? I said, the money your mother gave you for voice lessons. And he really quickly quit back. He says, well, you can't be a promoter if you've got talent. Because if you thought you had talent, you'd be promoting yourself, not somebody else, right? When you want power, you can't be an advisor because you're putting you still want to elevate yourself more than the person you just want to serve as an advisor to. If you have designs of your own, whoever is taking your advice has to realize that is this good for me or is it good for him?
Right.
And you want that Billy Graham figure who didn't want anything to do with politics. He just wants righteousness to prevail.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, so basically Jackson won over Tedford by, I'm sorry, because the scandal came out. He did lose by about 20 points.
No. Well, Tedford got about 35. Jackson got 29%.
Was that okay? Yeah. When I first saw it, okay.
But there was like 8 people in the field. You understand?
Yeah, there were a lot of But anyway, since then, Jackson has dropped out, and apparently he's resigned his position. That he's going to do the typical, usual thing: go away and. He
said he suspended his campaign.
Well, no, he's done. He's done.
Well, I agree with you that he's done. I just don't know if he filed with the election board.
Yeah, he has until a certain period of time.
Yesterday was the deadline.
Right. And so because I just talked to somebody and they said that it is Tedford's for the taking. So it's, but anyway, basically you've got Mark Tedford, and now going back to Jackson, I just hope not only he has a lesson now, but that it speaks to more people out there that when you go into the realm of politics, you got to be squeaky clean, because when it comes to bite you, it doesn't hurt only you. It hurts the whole congregation at his church now, Sheridan Christian Center on 41st and Memorial. Is I guarantee you there's turmoil, there's upheaval, there's people, some of your weaker Christians, believers are going to feel betrayed, going to feel like this has all been a sham, and it might cause many of them to fall away. Those who remain, people will always want to point fingers, which is wrong, because the failure of a leader does not mean failure of the cause, okay? So I just want to give a warning to people: don't come down on and condemn the whole church for the failings of one person. I only hope that he can recover and keep his family together and walk forward and rebuild his life. And it seems to me that he has giftings in areas other than pastoral realm. I would encourage him to leave the pastorship and pursue a private career. Just get a good job somewhere outside of ministry. That doesn't mean he can't continue to minister. He can still continue to minister as a lay person, but I really think he's a gifted person and that he can be used in other areas. And that's what I would do. And that's what I would suggest. In the meantime, getting to Mark Tedford, who is now essentially...
Can I just report, Randy Crable posted that Jackson formally withdrew. I would assume he means that he filed the papers. Now, the reason is because then the election board can say there is no runoff.
Right.
Rather than having a ballot with both Lohmeyer and Tedford on there that we know the outcome of.
That's what I heard, and that's why I said what I did.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to continue with, we've settled that. So in any sense, what I'm trying to do is say that I hope, his life's not over. He can rebuild. He can rebuild. He just has to set his sights on a different calling. That's how I feel. And the best to him and his family. I feel really bad for his family, of course, but there's always redemption in everything. This is not the end. He's young enough to really rebuild his life and get his family together. That's the really important thing. Some other races then.
Can I respond?
Okay.
I think the word accountability is important here. That where things got off the track is when you lose that accountability. And whatever Jackson does now, for his sake, for his family's sake, and anybody else that can be impacted, Jackson, get the accountability you need, because God still wants to use you in a way that's safe for you and doesn't take away from the kingdom of God.
Right. The only reason I don't go that way right now is because when you speak of accountability, it's more like you're wanting to continue in the lane that you were in, that you want to be a leader, a pastor, et cetera, and you want to be accountable. He needs to be accountable to his wife and his kids.
First.
At first. Well,
yes.
To me, period, right now. And then reestablish his life and outside of ministry. Just find another path right now. And if God should call you back, let him do it. But too often, I've just seen, the reason I say this, I've been through a church here in town, sure, up the street, where that has happened, and the pastor went through this period of restoration and this and that, and they put him back. And then, as I understand now, it's a mess.
Yeah.
So right now, die to that whole idea of regaining a pastoral leadership role. Just die to it for now. If it's going to happen, God can supernaturally bring it back down the road. But right now, pursue something else that you are gifted in and take care of your family. And then if God should so see fit, then he can restore you to that position. So that's what I'm saying. Let's move on down. So Mark Tedford then is our Republican candidate for the first condition.
You and I got to feel good about that. I mean, Mark's a friend, a longtime friend of yours.
Yeah.
And in fact, you used to go to his business and Bible study for a while, didn't you?
Yeah, it was just a group of guys, just a bunch of guys that would get together.
You met at Panera Bread. Panera Bread, right. Yeah. But it was largely businessmen.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I really don't remember what everybody did. But I just saw as a bunch of guys getting together.
Good.
So anyway, but that's many years.
And he wasn't doing that so that he could someday run for office.
No.
It was because he was finishing, I think he was getting a master's degree in ministry or something.
Yeah, I was really surprised, to be honest, that when he ran for the state rep job out of Jenks. And there are a lot of people that, in fact, at our little breakfast meeting this morning, non-ministers breakfast, we it came up and about the way that Mark got his position, that the prior state rep there,
Sheila Dills,
she decided the last day to announce she's not, so that they had arranged it in advance.
Yeah. And
then he stepped into the office. It's because Sheila believed in him and wanted him to take her place. And she stepped out because her husband had a medical condition.
Yeah. And she won after that. Then she started a business right downtown Jenks, if I remember right, kind of little restaurant eatery.
So it was a situation where the two of them colluded, in essence, that to time his step in so he didn't have to go through this whole rigmarole and fight.
What happened? Sheila now decided there's an open spot. She ran. She won her primary.
Right.
I don't know if it's going to run. If there were a bunch of people in there, some of them you and I know, Chuck Straub's wife, Angie, was a candidate. She did not win. No. I don't even think she made the top two. But anyway, you have to say, and that's okay. That's actually legal. I know that people don't like it. I mean, when McDougal decided he was done with the legislature, he went out and found a guy, said, I think you're the right guy. And he tried to help that person get it and clear the road. But you know what? Who recruited McDougal? I did. And I and some others helped clear the road for him, and that's just politics, recruiting candidates.
Right. And the timing, it's not how I don't know if I told you a story. What I want to say, it's not how you get into the office, it's what you do when you get into the office. And I remember my son, I may have told this story. My son came home one day from school. He said, Dad, they've got this form here and I need to fill out, and they want to know what race I am. And I looked at him and I got this guy. I said, whichever one opens the door the widest and the quickest, that's what you are today. Tomorrow we'll reevaluate.
Yeah.
And
he didn't lie.
He got this look on his face, this big grin, and took off running, And so, but later I kind of, wait, you ran off so fast, I didn't get to finish. I said, but when you get there, prove that you should have been there all along.
There you go.
See, that's the difference. To me, what do they call them? When you have spaces for like minority
quotas.
Thank you. The quota system. To me, the quota system in itself is not bad. When it's skewed so poorly that you need more but the problem with the quota system is that they're taking people that are unqualified to fill the quota. Now, if you got people,
it's inevitable you're gonna.
Exactly. So if to get to the point to be considered for a quota position to equalize things or straighten them out, then you take the best, make sure the best, most qualified person that fits the job description. You put in there. So that's my position. I'm not totally against quotas. I'm against the way the quotas are done.
Can I ask you this?
Yeah.
If everything in the world was equal, those quotas would be met on their own. A certain percent of populations, this ethnicity, it's going to reflect that, right? Unless one of two things. There's either favoritism or a certain segment is more motivated than another segment.
Yeah, but see, there's one more thing, like that you got to factor in.
Okay.
The good old boy system. So in other words, the guys who knows the guy.
Yeah, that's a favoritism.
That's a favoritism. And that to me is the same as quotas, sometimes worse, because depending on the favoritism, you may pick the most unqualified person that's available.
Well, for instance, you're a Texas Tech alum. Do your kids have a little extra advantage, your grandkids getting into Texas Tech?
Well, yeah. There's an alumni
thing.
In other words,
that's a government entity, and there's a favoritism.
Yeah, though they live in California, they are considered in-state because they're a legacy.
Yeah. Legacy, which is another way of saying favoritism.
Yeah, there's legacy scholarships and everything. Right. That is true. That is a favor. But see, here's the thing. You still have to meet the requirements to get into the school.
See, now that's the deal, because when they first pitched it to us, they said, all other things being equal, choose the lesser represented.
Right. That's what I've been saying. That's exactly what I said.
That's not what they've been practicing.
No, exactly. That's the problem. And that's what ends up making everything messed up and it actually backfires on the minorities that get these positions because they suck at it. They never should have had the job. But I guarantee you, it goes back to the favoritism. I guarantee those non-qualified minorities that get these jobs they should have never gotten are picked because they know somebody.
Yeah. I mean, if you're getting on an airplane and you see that the pilot has a full beard and is wearing a dress, you better get off that plane, because you question, was it his excellence or hers, or was it his, checking boxes?
You could have said there.
There, yeah. Well, if he's got a beard, I'm going to default to him.
Although there are bearded ladies. But keep them serious. Yeah, it's such a mess, that whole thing. it needs to get back down to qualification. If you're qualified and you've got a room full of qualified people and it's a woman, a man, a black, a Hispanic, an Asian, whatever, you find the most qualified. Right. If there's a more qualified black person, that person gets more qualified Asian, Hispanic, woman, whatever.
Yes.
That's what's wrong with our society.
It's called meritocracy.
Meritocracy,
it's
exactly.
Merit that gets
meritocracy.
Yep.
All right. So, man,
so we're on elections.
We've got far
covered
afoot.
Congress.
Right.
Now we got state office.
Governor.
All right.
Okay. Mike Mazie and Gentner Drummond are in the runoff. Gentner's got a few points ahead of Mazie.
And actually, statistically, they're both 26%.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was 26 and change, and he was just shy, but rounds up to 26.
Right. So now the real key is going to be, where do the supporters of the also-rans go?
Yep.
And are they bitter against Mike Mazie, or are they more bitter, not, I would say bitter, but more opposed to Gentner Drummond? That's going to be the real test. I was a little disappointed in Chip Keating's attacks on Mike Mazie, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That I felt. Now, I do want to say this, okay? Now, this is going to get me in trouble again because it goes back to the whole same thing with Jackson Laymeyer. And that is, we had another minister running for governor.
Who are you referring to?
Who came in fourth.
Oh, Jake Merrick?
Jake Merrick, right.
He
was a pastor.
You know, Todd Russ is a minister too.
Okay.
I mean, whether or not, are you a minister? You're a businessman.
What? All right. What I'm talking about is, not only are you licensed? Basically, I'm licensed to marry, bury, and baptize. Okay. But I'm not called to pastor. Okay. To me, if you're called to pastor, then you pastor. If you're not, again, goes back to the same thing we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
And Jake Merrick is all of the praise and accreditation given to him by people, his supporters and all, is that he's this man of God, and excuse me, and that, he's pastored. But now, this is going to sound terrible when I say this, okay? If he were that gifted in that area, he would have had a bigger church, and he wouldn't have to go into politics. I know it sounds terrible.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm going to sound even worse.
I know. Numbers equals anointing.
Just beat me, whip me. Well, and moving from a couple of different, yeah. Then the other thing is, they were pitching this kind of sad story about his wife being sick and needing insurance. To me, so many things got involved with this that had nothing to do with his meritocracy again. Okay, whether he was the most gifted.
He's a former state senator.
Right, but how did he get in?
It was a special election.
A special election to fill out, to end someone's term.
Yeah, to complete somebody else's term. Yeah.
Right. So, but then for some reason, he didn't win the next one. He didn't come back.
Right.
Okay. So now, anyway, I hate it because I like Jake.
Well,
and I want people to understand.
He's been a guest on this show.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's been a guest. He's a nice guy and so forth. I'm just telling you, I always want to be honest with you. You will always, whether you love me, hate me, whatever, as you know, I'm going to tell you how I feel. Yeah. And you can agree with me or not, but I'm going to give you my side of the story. And I just believe that if you're called to pastor, if you're called to minister, a prophet, an evangelist, whatever, do it. Do that. If you're called to be a politician, do that. A businessman, a military man, whatever your calling is. Once you find your calling, do it. So don't try to use one to make me fit this over here.
Can I say something?
Get me out of this.
Eddie, look, you and I have been doing this now, 5 years, and I think I get a sense of your heart. There's sometimes I don't think you enunciate rationally your real gut feeling. And I think on this, you got to work through the reasoning part. But I think you and I are in the same place on this. We don't like it, the exploiting of religion for political gain. And we see that happening. We see it on left and right. But what I do want to point out here, and those of you who are watching live, you'll have to go to the election board to see this map. Those listening to our podcast, pull up freshblack.coffee because we're posting up the map. And this map for governor shows Jake Merrick won, I think, a dozen counties. He got first place, and they're in purple. It's largely western and west central Oklahoma, including winning Canadian County, which is a pretty sizable population.
Norman, Oklahoma City.
It's just actually part of Oklahoma City does go into Canadian County, out past Bethany, El Reno, that whole area. But somehow he connected with those counties so well that he beat Gettner in all the rest. Okay, so he's got a dozen counties. Now, if you go down to the beige color, Little Dixie, you see about 13 counties that Charles McCall won. Again, he's from Atoka.
Yeah.
Okay, he's a tribal member. He's, they get him. He gets them. He won that region. Now, Gettner is this kind of a gold and yellow. He won, I think, 21 or 22 counties. Largely, his home turf is Osage County, but, those northern Oklahoma counties he did well in, and a few others. Mike Mazie. Oh, yeah. And by the way, Gettner won Oklahoma County, the most populous county. Right. Mike Mazie won Tulsa and much of eastern Oklahoma, and and a few others. He won Comanche County, which is Fort Sill, Lawton. That's a big area. Right.
And where is what's the air base out there?
Fort Sill. Well, in Altus, yeah.
Is that the other pink?
I think Altus, might be this one down here, just south of Duncan, that whole area. So, Mike and Gettner are kind of spread out. Let's see. We're missing somebody else here. No, we got McCall. Oh, Keating. Keating is kind of this light golden area, which is essentially he's got a lot of western Oklahoma. So western Oklahoma is either Merrick or Keating. That's where there's votes for either Gettner or Mazie to pick up, as well as Little Dixie down there, McCall's area. The whole thing I'm looking at now is where do those votes move to? Because the majority are the biggest, segments of those counties was not Mike or Gettner. Only 52% statewide voted for either Gettner or Mazie. Only 52%. So there's going to be an effort to start getting endorsements. And I think if you don't see endorsements, then if you're a Keating voter, where do you go next? I don't know. What do you think? Where do you think these people go?
I don't know. That's the thing that I've been deliberating on that since last night, just thinking about it. Who wins the rest of them? In other words, Keating, who is he going to throw his McCall? Where they're going to throw their thing to, and then Jake Merrick, where are his votes going? And I think Keating's votes are going to be the most important for whoever it is. Okay, that's the most. He was third place, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And then after Jake was fourth, I believe.
Yeah.
And then Charles. Now here, I've got to say something. Sadly, or unfortunately, most people didn't get to meet Charles McCall. Okay, most of our people on this side. Of all the candidates, he's the most personable, charming, nice guy, seeming down to earth of every candidate that ran. Now, Mike is a friend of mine. I supported Mike. You supported Mike. But I have to say, Mike, if he could get the charm of Charles McCall, that's why I was shocked that Charles, early in the polling, he already showed up down in fourth place. And I'm thinking, how in the heck did he end up way down there, considering, who he is as a person? So maybe you can, because you know more of the internal politics.
Well, here's everything. The thing, because I watched these guys that rose to leadership in the legislature, got elected, I believe it was in 12, both McCall and John Eccles. And they put together a team and started working on this early to get the speakership. And they were sophomores. They were second term in the House when they took over. That was unheard of. And then they kept it. That's even more. Charles McCall has served as Speaker of the House longer than anyone else in Oklahoma history. Mm. It wasn't just that he got it, that he kept it by keeping his Republican conference together. And it wasn't just him. Eccles was a big part of that too.
But get back to the original.
Okay.
So how does he end up down in number 4?
Here's what I'm saying to you, because it's largely proves your point. When you're trying to get speaker, it's one-on-one. You go to the office of, John Bennett, say, John, because this is true. Bennett wanted to be speaker. And he says, look, I can help you this, I can help you this, and I'll make you chairman of Public Safety Committee. And Bennett took the deal. And Bennett got assurances, one-on-one, face-to-face with McCall. You can count on me in this issue, you count on me in this issue, count on me in this issue. And largely that whole platform caucus was very much McCall, because they felt like they were going to be treated. Now, obviously, another member of that leadership, Chris Kennedy, sold him out, and so did Josh West. But McCall has that kind of personal skill. That's how he got speaker. Because you can do that running for speaker. You can't do it running for governor.
Yeah, but why? Why? To me, it's going to sound weird here. If you put them all together, I'd say he's, to me, the most handsome of the bunch.
Handsome?
You put them next to each other, I think he is.
Chip Keating's mama would have a problem with that.
Well, she can have all the problems she wants, but I guarantee, I would bet you anything. If you took, this sounded crazy.
We're hardly experts on this, Eddie. No, guys, get a life in here.
I just understand women, and had, if you put them in a room in a lineup, I guarantee you, 75% or more are going to pick McCall over Keating.
I think his charm, definitely.
Well, yeah, he's just this warm, friendly.
Look, if every one of these candidates,
manly man as well, who win his boots.
He's tall, he's big. But if every one of these candidates could go into every living room and sit with every family, right, I think McCall would win. Because
but
that's
again,
his skill.
But with his position and his money, how in the heck did he win? Did he win Atoka? Did he win his own county?
Yeah, the only one of Little Dixie he didn't get was Choctaw County. Mike Mazie won that. Now, Mike hired one of his top people, was over here, Bryan County next door. That's where Holly Gerard's been. Her and her family lived down there. I don't know how he won that. He obviously had some very committed ground forces there. That's a big thing about this is ground game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is who has it.
And way out west, Mike has one over there, doesn't he? In the Panhandle?
No.
Oh, I thought that looked pink. Okay, I'm colorblind, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, now I see it's more yellow.
Yeah, but I think Gettner has a ceiling of support. He's one of those very polarizing figures.
Well, I know on Facebook I saw a thing, and his people really came out. I mean, they came out kind of viciously after the election.
Well, remember, he's he's hired one of the partners of the old Age Strategies. Found Holland's partner was what's his name? Trevor Worthen.
Yeah,
Trevor was chief of staff at the AG's office. He's been involved. Trevor's wife's been doing, fundraising and event stuff. You've got a lot of that bunch. So here's the thing. You got a lot of that philosophy of campaign that knows how to go dirty, knows how to hit hard, negative campaigning. They do it. And they're not ashamed that they do it.
Oh, no, I'm seeing it. You can see it in them.
Yeah. Because, the things people went after, Mazie for, there might be some sliver of truth, but they just blow it totally out of
proportion. It's just nonsense, really.
Yeah. So I think it reminds me a lot, if you go way back to 2002 in the Democrat primary, there was a very polarizing figure, had run as a Republican for governor, didn't win. The guy who owned Garfield's, why can't I think of his name right now? Won the primary. He'd been an anchor for one of the TV stations in Oklahoma City, and owned Garfield's restaurants, that chain. And he won the primary, but Brad Henry got the consensus support in the runoff. And Vince Orsa was his name. And he has that same kind of very driving alpha male, strong opinions and not afraid to say it. And it just turned off some people. So there's this ceiling when you're doing that. Yeah. You could say Donald Trump is kind of that person.
Let's try to keep it specific, because we've got a few more to go here.
To the issue of where do the votes migrate,
right.
I think I would right now give probably a 60% chance Mazie is our nominee.
Well, good. That would
you
good.
Wanted to hear that, didn't you?
Yeah. So anyway, moving on down the line, we've got T.W. Shannon.
Yeah.
He overwhelmingly won his. He did good.
David Ostro, who was with the Stitt, cabinet, did very poorly. Put a lot of money into it. Did very poorly. J.J. Humphreys was kind of a grassroots, folksy, rural little Dixie guy.
Yeah.
Didn't do well.
No.
Likable guy, but no, we just didn't.
Yeah, but see, he was too. That's the problem. The thing that made him special also works against him. In other words, why would I vote for that hick?
Yeah,
that a comedian. He's got people laughing and and so that's a
Yeah, and now TW got that endorsement right away from Trump,
right?
And I don't know that he had to pay Roger Stone.
And TW has the Newsmax and Fox viewership. Because he's been on both.
Yeah, very photogenic.
And he's been public. He's been out there. He's been supporting the president and conservative ideals and so forth for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about it a few weeks ago about his wife. Most charming person I've seen in a long time. When we went down on a Mike Mazie deal, I was supporting him on this truck.
Yeah.
And anyway, and behind us was this band, and there was TW and his wife and his son. They were walking along greeting people.
Oh, he didn't have his beauty queen daughter.
No, she was busy for some pageant or something. But anyway, so, but his wife was out there, the band's playing, and she's dancing by herself, literally dancing, having, as we would say in the hood, getting down.
Yeah.
In the middle of the street, and TJ is just going on. He just left her out there. She's spinning around and doing this dancing with the band, but just the most charming, so down to earth, And so I think that's a lot of what had a lot to do with it. But I think the biggest thing is his exposure.
Yeah,
everybody knows the name, they've seen him, and I'm really happy in a sense, not just because he's Black, because I know him and know his policies, and he's true, sincere, conservative. But at the same time, I know a lot of it is due to his exposure.
Yes. He was the Speaker of the House a couple of them before Charles McCall. And he's very big with the Chickasaw tribe. He's a Chickasaw member.
I forgot about
See, he's both Native American, I would call him American Indian, Chickasaw, and African American Black.
Well, and then he has managed to walk that tightrope of supporting the tribes, but at the same time, the whole issue of, their sovereignty versus the needs of the state.
Well, and the Chickasaw tribe is not as radical as the
Cherokee.
Cherokees are radical as can be. One of the member of the Chickasaw administration that became good friends. So he's the guy that I ran against for Republican Party vice chair. Shane Jemison, he said that, no, you want to hear this. He said that the Cherokees, there's just no predicting what they're going to do. He said the rest of us in that 5-tribe group, you can pretty much count on us to do what makes the most sense. The Cherokees, and James said, I am butchering, I'm paraphrasing, but I think a lot of people who know this issue know that the Cherokees can do that crazy thing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. It's, and one thing too, the Chickasaw, which this was years ago from the Pat Campbell thing, we found out the Chickasaw, and from talking to TW, what they did, you remember the 40 acres and a mule? That applied to the tribes as well. So they had the option to do what everybody else did, the 40 acres of a mule, or you had to give
them citizenship.
Give citizenship to the slaves that the tribes had. And so the Chickasaw, what they did, they actually gave the 40 acres and a mule
independence
and removed them from the rolls.
Yeah.
Whereas the Cherokee didn't. They decided to keep them on the rolls until now, all of a sudden, 10 years ago or so, they tried to kick them off the rolls, and that got them because you can't, it's part of the treaty. So you want to kick them off, we're going to end the treaty because you've broken the treaty.
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, that was a big thing about 10 to 12 years ago in the state of Oklahoma.
And I got to commend Obama on that issue. He withheld money for their housing for the Cherokee tribe. So unless you let them vote in this next one, I'm withholding money from you.
Yeah. And you can't have it both ways. We just it was convenient for us now to make it tribal members rather than giving them land and land rights and so forth. And then now all of a sudden say, oh, we reneged on that. So anyway, moving on down the line. Okay.
Yep.
What do you have next?
Let's go to Superintendent of Education.
Yeah.
Really surprised.
That's a tough one.
Because you've been a long time friend and supporter of John Cox.
And we've had him in here many times.
He got bumped out. He's literally just barely missed second place.
Yeah.
And evidently, this guy Franklin, who's with Tulsa Tech, was the top vote getter. I think that's the education establishment vote, personally. And because I've heard people say you might as well be voting Democrat. You vote for
we'll see.
And
I've seen it. He spoke at the Tulsa Republican Men's Club.
It wouldn't surprise me. He's a candidate running.
Right. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I have I hate to, again, I'm kind of a contrarian on this. A lot. How do I want to say this in a way that doesn't sound really weird? Just consider me a peculiar person, okay? I just I have a hard time voting for who's the runoff between Franklin and what's the other?
James Taylor.
James Taylor is a black individual, and nice person, good family. Everything's good. I don't have anything against it. My real problem is, again, he seems to be too eager to be a politician. Okay, he's another one of these ministers that wants to be a politician.
He's he's pastor church. His income is derived from teaching school.
Right, he's a school teacher.
He's got a doctorate in education.
Okay, well, that helps then, yeah. But once I complete my thought, then more will come out. No, but thank you for that. I need to. But anyway, so again, I think a lot of people are voting for him because he's this right-wing bulldog. He's a right-wing bulldog.
Yep.
And so what I think is going to happen, we may get into the same situation as we just got into with our former Secretary of Education,
Ryan Walters,
that was booted out of the job.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of has me thinking John Cox would have been the better choice.
Yeah.
He's a godly, principled person, been principal and superintendent of education in his own district, school district, for many years, has a lot of good background and so forth. And for his sake, honestly, I hope he finally quits and just focuses on doing that, because the time, the energy, the money, you and I know him. We know the quality person he is, how good a man he is, and so forth. And he just, for some reason, people don't want to support John Cox. And I don't know what it is. So we will just hope, and I hope that the people do the right thing, and that it all works out right.
Yeah.
For the sake of the state of Oklahoma.
Okay, so I'm looking at the map of this. James Taylor did win about 10 counties, and they're all over the place, really. There's no one base. John Cox, Little Dixie and Eastern Oklahoma. John Cox, and he got way out there, Jackson County. That's like way out near the Texas Panhandle. For some reason, he got that. But John Cox had the second most county wins. Franklin got the most. I hear John Cox wins twice as many counties and still loses out to James Taylor.
Yeah, it's weird.
And it's just...
He's got the populous area, didn't he, to get Oklahoma County?
You know who won Oklahoma County? Adam Pugh won one county. That's Senator Adam Pugh, who, remember, went to Supreme Court case whether or not he can be on the ballot. But even winning Oklahoma County, he only got 20% of the vote. Everybody else was in the teens.
Wow.
And Hassenbeck, who challenged Pugh at the Supreme Court, she only got the Lawton area, 5 counties. And that's probably her base of support. She won them, and that is it. So, it's going to be interesting. It's where do these votes go to? But here's more importantly is who's paying attention to this race?
Yeah.
Remember, we got to tell you folks one thing. Last week, we had Bob Sullivan in, right, running for insurance commissioner. After the show, Eddie's asked him one thing, kind of off the record. As he's leaving, he says, was there any polling done? And he says, well, yeah, we did some. There was no independent polling. He says, actually, 70% are undecided. Remember he said that? Mm-hmm. And he said, of those who have made a decision, it's me and Marty Quinn, which is exactly how it turned out.
Yeah, that's how it came out, yeah.
And, but it goes to the point, with all the money being spent on governor and attorney general and lieutenant governor, people are overwhelmed, and this is just too many decisions, and they can't do their homework on everything, which is another issue for another day about, do we keep consolidating elections down, and what kind of decision-making comes from it? But let's get back to this. So Adam Pugh, for all of his efforts, got him one county in 5th place. James Taylor, really, to him, I think you're right. He's the flamethrower of the bunch. And I think Franklin is going to be that establishment. And I bet you that's who that teachers
union. Oh, yeah. They'll support him.
Because keep in mind, who did Stillwater and Norman vote for? And they voted for Franklin. It's and Tulsa County, which is his base. Franklin should win Tulsa County. In Tulsa County, though, the guy who got second, Franklin got 23%, and James Taylor right behind him, 22.5%, and Cox third with 20%. So James Taylor in Tulsa beat.
Yeah, there's that. there's that certain ultra conservative crowd here, Rhonda Villamon Smith's group and some of the other groups, the Terra people. James has spoken there many times.
Right.
And a lot of people, you got the other situation of John was a Democrat that became a Republican. I think some people still hold that against him.
Well, especially given people saying about McCall, he was a Democrat until the week he filed for public office.
Right.
And people are saying that about Gettner. In fact, Trump went out public this week saying Gettner is a rhino. So yeah, I think people are more suspicious, and I think John Cox has suffered from that.
Yeah.
But John, you ran as a Democrat. That's part of the baggage.
Yeah. What's interesting, I supported him, if you remember, when he was still Democrat. I've done that. I've only done that twice.
But he was the better candidate between him and Joy Hoffmeister.
Oh, well, sure.
You knew that. I didn't. A bunch of us got snowed.
Exactly.
And you know what? A lot of the reason we're snowed was AH Strategies, found Holland in the bunch. They made a deal with the teachers' organizations to recruit a Republican who the teachers' organizations could support, the pension people, all the principals, superintendents. And it all came out when David Prater did an indictment of Hoffmeister and found Holland that he later had to withdraw, but the political damage was done.
When you say AA strategies, all I can think about is A, and the second word is whole. Strategy.
And by the way, that organization is largely reorganized now as CAMP. So if you see CAMP, think Found Holland.
No more a-holes.
Yeah. So
okay. So all right, let's move on. So that superintendent of education.
Oh yeah, Attorney General. Boy, a lot of money was spent on this Jeff Starling, whom I've never heard of.
I heard of him during the campaign.
Yes.
But yeah, like you, I have no idea who he is.
And a lot of money was spent to trash Eccles. A lot of money. Well, and look, Eccles.
It didn't work.
Yeah, but Eccles, he had some things I disagreed with him. He came on this show.
Yeah, we got to give it to him that we need to get him back. We need to get him back. Ask him if he'll come back after, and then we'll find out what kind of person he is.
Right.
He'll come back and say, tell us about it. What do you see in the future coming as Attorney General? What are the big issues? That's the kind of thing I'd like to know now.
Yeah, good point. And he got 55% of the vote, 45% for Starling. So that does not go to runoff because there were just those two.
Right.
Cindy Byrd was all set and wasn't announced, literally running for lieutenant governor until the night before filing.
Right.
And Trump had come out with his endorsement of TW.
Right.
And so
I'm glad he did it soon enough for her to switch back.
Yeah. Well, Cindy then took on Todd Russ, who I wish we could have got Todd in the show. I consider him a friend. He really is a good guy from Cordell, Weatherford area, West Oklahoma.
I voted for him.
Yeah. So, but she had, she has the name recognition.
Yeah, sure.
When you're auditor, that's a big deal.
Can't win them all.
But I consider that a step down just to keep a government job. I just think,
I don't know if it's I actually think auditor is more influential and
so I'm saying she was auditor. Now she's treasurer.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, treasurer.
Treasurer,
okay.
You're just certifying what kind of funds we have to spend, and you are responsible for properly investing our rainy day money so that it grows. So anyway, and so we talked.
Let's hope she does a good job there.
Yeah. Labor commissioner, we have not got involved too much in this. This is a lot of former legislators looking for a hammock, golden hammock after they serve. Kevin West, who I consider a friend, he got the most, 41%, but not enough to stop a runoff. John Pfeiffer, who was part of the House leadership for years, and voted for all those tax increases, back in 17 and 18. Pfeiffer got 35% and change. So I think the advantage is to Kevin West, depending on what kind of deals they make with others. But this is a race that people haven't studied.
Right, exactly.
So insurance commissioner, what do you know? Our friend Bob Sullivan. Bob, you were smart to come on the show last minute. You got 37% to Marty Quinn's 27, almost 28.
It's funny. Guess who called me yesterday?
Huh?
Marty Quinn.
Really?
Yeah.
He wants on, huh?
Well, he didn't say it, but he was just calling me, wants to get together and talk or so. So I have a feeling he heard. So, no, we've got to have him on.
Well, you're an insurance man, career insurance man,
right,
with a microphone.
Right.
Who wouldn't want to talk to you?
Exactly. So, but anyway, yeah. So we will have Marty on, and we'll probably bring Bob back on for a redo again as well. So
I think that would be a good thing. Yeah. Brad Bowles, who has been a legislator for some time, just had the name recognition over Justin Hornback, who's from Broken Arrow.
Yeah.
So Justin lost.
I'll tell you, Justin, one of his problems. He spoke at the Republican Men's Club. And he's there at almost every meeting. Been there. Great guy. We've had him on here. We had him. We had Justin on here, and I thought he did a great job here. And when you meet him, he does a great job.
Yeah.
But when he was supposed to, he spoke at the Tulsa Republican Men's Club. It was a debacle.
Yeah.
It was horrible. Poor guy. I felt bad for him. He had this. What he should have done. Forget the notes. Just tell us show us the money. That's all you need to do. But he's got these notes, and he couldn't find his place in his notes, and this, and then he had dead space. It was just awful. And I felt so bad for him because you and I had met him, talked to him, know the kind of person he is, and I, be honest, I voted for him because I thought he was the right guy, but he just came across so poorly on that. When he was trying to give a speech that I right then I saw, I'm sorry, Justin, but I think you're going to get beat. Sadly, I would have, like I said, I voted for him. I'd probably still vote for him, but he needs me as his campaign manager because whoever he had, well, I'm sure he was all by himself. So there were 3 in the race, right? Or was it 4?
That one was just 2.
It was just 2. I thought it was. I thought it was another person.
Say that again.
I thought for some reason thought there was another person. But.
On that one, there were just those 2 that show up on this list. Right. By the way, all the other there's 5 congressional races in Oklahoma. The other 4, everybody got 50 or 70%. The
incumbents.
Yeah, the incumbents.
Yeah, the incumbents got all those.
So that's I don't want to get into legislative stuff. It's just too much. Let me just talk about this now since we are on this a little bit. There's been a push to consolidate election dates because we're watching school board bond issues, municipal bonds, all these things on strange dates. I mean,
which benefits the Democrats or the union. Yeah,
the smaller but more activist organization benefits, just like special elections, because the Republican majority largely doesn't go. Right. Whereas everybody in the PTA at your public school is told, support our schools, vote for this bond. They literally are selling their version. So there is going to be a problem with people not being as informed, kind of overkill, too many things to decide. And we got to come up with some kind of solution on this.
Okay.
Because I want people to be informed easily.
Well, you know what to do, Dave. It's up to you. You get it done. Get her done.
You know what? Maybe if there was just one election statewide.
One state and then one federal?
No, I'm talking about where it's just bond issues. Yeah. Schools, municipalities, counties, everybody. One just about bonds.
That's smart.
You know why? Because if too many people are begging too much money, people are more likely to say no to all of them.
Yeah, the teachers want money. The cities want money.
If I vote for all of these, my God, will I have any money left to buy groceries?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you do that. I think that might be the better way.
Yeah.
Because, no,
you're right. I think that would be good. Judges. Got the judges thing going as well. Anything else?
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about this vote on minimum wage.
Oh, yeah. That's the one right there. Yeah. Right. The minimum wage. It lost. Thank goodness. I guarantee you, does it show, you don't have a map on that?
I do.
Oh, okay. I guarantee you the cities, it won.
The two metropolitan areas are where the bulk of their votes came from, and Norman, Cleveland County.
Right. Yeah, where the colleges
Those are the three counties it won. Now, it got 59% in Oklahoma County, actually round up to 60. And then it actually did less in Cleveland County, only got 54% in Cleveland County. That's OSU, Norman.
Yeah.
Norman.
Oh, Norman's Cleveland.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You got 54. Okay.
54. And it got 54 in Tulsa. So, clearly the most radical liberal county in Oklahoma is Oklahoma County.
What about Stillwater?
Great question.
What county is that?
Payne County.
Payne County, okay.
Yeah, the campus of OSU, it only got 46 and change.
Okay.
No, but here's the thing. I think the more rural you are, the less you're counting on minimum wage. It's not a factor in the economy.
That's true.
People get paid what the job's worth. And to say every job is worth, this elevated 50, that's saying there are no more high school jobs. There are no more entry-level jobs. Every job has to feed a family of 4 or it ain't a job. Well, then you're going to have black market, Steve, where people are paying cash under the table. Mm-hmm. It goes unreported and no taxes are paid.
Well, we need to, because I guarantee you that's coming up again.
Yeah.
And so what we need to do, you need to put a paper together and then we'll figure out a way to get it out to everybody. Okay. I'm serious. I'm not joking. I'm serious because this is something I think you really have a finger on. And excuse me, I don't know what my throat here, but no, I really think it's something you have a finger on the issue.
Well, Dave,
I mean, everybody should have a finger because let's just bring it down to what the typical person at home understands. Okay. Mm-hmm. When you have 20 people and you're paying them $7.50 an hour and the boss makes a certain amount of money selling widgets, whatever it is, and he's able to pay a staff a certain amount. Now, all of a sudden, you take the people that were making $7.50 an hour, you bump them up to $15 an hour. Then you got the middle management people that you're going to have to pay more.
Sure.
You can't leave them.
You have to reward their taking leadership.
Exactly. So now you're going to bump them up to 25. And then whoever is upper management, you're going to have to boost them. Now, you're not going to sell any more widgets necessarily. So what are you going to do? You cut the number of people. So you have to cut, depending on amount, you have to cut 5 to 10 people from the payroll.
See, I think you got it wrong there. Now you're going to sell a lot less widgets because to sell them at a profit, you've driven them out of the market for many people.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Not necessarily. That is one of that's one of the options. The other option is to cut the payroll.
Yeah.
And so you have to fire people, lay people off to be able to keep, and it's going to be your top level people that you lay off, some of the lower ones, but you've only got a certain amount of margin that you can deal with.
Yeah, you replace some people with robots. That's what a lot of, look, when when I go to McDonald's, I use their app because I get a better deal on my McDonald's meal when I order through the app.
Right, sure.
I cut out the cashier.
Yeah, that's because they
turn it on.
Oh, that's because you fired somebody that the machine took the place of, and they're able to give you the discount. Yeah, but see, the problem is your middle to lower class. A lot of your middle to lower class people that they don't ever think of that. It's just $15 an hour. Yeah, I need one. And then you got these college students that are fed this crap that, everybody, a living wage, the term, a living wage. They need a living wage. A living age begins apparently in their minds at 15 an hour. And here's the other thing about this particular bill. It had in it that it was an increasing amount.
Yes. That
it wasn't just 15.
Oklahoma could never be one of the most lowest cost of living because you were going to hike this up to match the eastern and western big cities.
Right, LA, New York.
Right. So you're using their numbers to define what Oklahoma's minimum income should be. This is a real problem. I want to commend OCPA for really taking the lead on this issue. You know, Jonathan Smalls and the team, Dave Bond came in to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that the word got out as much as it did. I mean, somebody did a good job of letting people, because I was really worried about this. I really had a feeling that people just don't understand. And maybe, hey, thank God, praise the Lord, that Oklahomans seem to understand that you can't raise double, essentially, the minimum wage and not expect the money. This is what got me before when they brought $15 an hour around the country and different things. And Walmart, I think, is paying that. And for people that they don't understand that it's going to drive up your food prices. So $15 an hour is going to be the same as $7.50 because they're just going to raise the prices to be able to match that.
Okay.
What the need is.
I want to commend Herman Cain for making this argument way back in the 90s.
The late Herman Cain.
When Bill Clinton was pitching his socialized medicine thing, and he had this kind of a studio town hall, almost like a Phil Donahue show. And Herman got to ask a question. He says, hey, I'm the CEO of Godfather's Pizza. He says, if I take on these mandated responsibilities, it's going to drive Godfather's out of business. And if it drives us out, it'll drive all of them. And Bill Clinton gave him a quick answer: raise your prices. And Herman Cain said, Mr. President, you clearly don't understand the dynamics involved in running food industry business. He said there comes a point where people, it's not whether they buy their pizza from Godfather's or one of our competitors, they just quit buying pizza at a restaurant. And that's why this is a threat. When you drive your product beyond the feasibility range, it starts tapering off. Some people just say, not at those prices.
Yeah, but see, even Clinton let the cat out of the bag even. I mean, even his answer, raise your prices. People should have figured right then, oh, let me think about this. So if we get more money, you're not really getting any more money because you're getting this amount, but they're going to raise the price to the same where you're going to end up
You're
at the
right
same
about
place.
that, yeah.
And that's what people really need to understand.
It's inflationary.
You don't need to make it I wouldn't even call it inflationary because there's too many people that really don't. They think of inflation as something they talk about on CNBC, right? Or Fox Business. They don't really understand. You got to speak the common language to common people.
I would say this. It would be even more so what you're talking about if we didn't have the Biden years in the hyperinflation after COVID, because people do feel that still.
Yeah, I might. If you say inflation, I would put in parentheses, raise prices.
Right.
Because just to make sure everybody understands.
What happened to property insurance? It went way up, largely because that house that you bought at $80,000, now in order for them to replace it, it's going to cost State Farm or whoever double that. And so they're going to have to charge you double the premium to insure that because they got to pay for replacing it.
Yeah, I bought my house in 2014, and it has doubled in the 12 years that we've been in it.
Yeah,
doubled.
Yeah,
I mean, just think about it.
Right,
twice as much.
Now that's nice from your equity standpoint, but not so nice from your insuring standpoint.
Right. And so, and the insurance, of course, has gone up. Now, in the last year, it's gone up exponentially. Most people, especially homeowners. Now, commercial insurance.
He's an insurance guy, and he's complaining about insurance rate hikes.
Sure. I don't like it because my clients don't like it. and I'm not only an agent, I'm a customer.
Yes.
But no, it's weird that I think we've talked about it before. Oklahoma has the third highest homeowners rates in the country. And I used to not understand it, but then I decided one day to really investigate it. And the reason is that, for example, I may have talked about this before. Texas has 32 million people. Mm-hmm. They share their risk. They have tornadoes and hurricanes and hailstorms. Okay, we don't have the hurricanes. We just have the tornadoes and hailstorms. They have tornadoes, hailstorm, and still the hurricanes on top of the tornadoes. Mm-hmm. So they're really, but the only two states that beat us are Florida and Louisiana. Yeah. And the reason that Louisiana and Oklahoma in particular have such high rates is because of the population. Texas has 32.4 million people. Oklahoma has 4.2 million people. Yeah. So it's about spreading risks. You're insuring a lot more people in Texas that can spread the risk. And here we don't, and that's why our prices are so high. You know, you lived in different places in Texas. You know, Lubbock out on the, the prairie. The plains. West Plains. You lived in El Paso, right? Yeah, and Dallas. I lived Louisville, actually, just north of there. Here's the thing. Texas is like several states. Oklahoma, just about anywhere in Oklahoma, you got the tornado threat. Right? Okay. Texas. And hail. Yeah. Texas, it's different climates. I mean, if you're down there, Humboldt, Sugar Land, Galveston, it's hurricanes. Hurricane country. Yeah. Right? And some flooding. But West Texas. Yeah, Lubbock doesn't have hurricanes to worry about. So now all of a sudden you got some evening out. So there are statewide numbers. Because I guarantee you. Well, there are tornadoes in West Texas. There are. Even out the hurricanes. They are. There's less down Lubbock and south of that than up you get towards Wichita Falls and Amarillo. You got more tornadoes. Well, Lubbock, my dorm got wiped out 2 days after. Okay. Actually, it was the day that I left in the morning and a tornado hit that night. But the macro stats do show that the density of tornadoes as you get towards northern Texas goes up. Oh, yeah. Compared to south. Well, Lubbock is pretty far north. Yeah, it is. But I think you left one thing out, Dallas. Yeah. Dallas is hail. Yeah. They have the biggest hailstorms, stones. Literally, you've heard of baseball size hail. I saw it. Somebody had one in their freezer and pulled it out to show me. And it was literally that big, a hailstone. Well, it's not one simple nice round. It's all these chunks of ice put together that somehow when they're coming down, they clamp together. Yeah, clusters, it was amazing. But what I'm getting at here is the number overall for Texas insurance, it's got to be a lot higher in Galveston than it is in Lubbock. Yeah. Well, so it's not one rate for the whole state. Well, although it may be a little higher, but see, that's what they do. They average it out. So that the people in Galveston aren't necessarily overpriced. And so they'll take Lubbock or let's say you're hail, hurricane, and tornado-free places. Mm-hmm. They'll take those rates and raise them a bit to make up. Because otherwise, you'd have the same situation as you have in California. See, in California, the leadership is just stupid. That's their deal. They want to charge the whole state earthquake rates, and make the insurance companies jack their premiums up so high that and guarantee to issue all of this. Right. So, whereas the rest they try to average it out. It's usually averaged out. They did much like Obama did with healthcare. Everybody's on the high risk pool now because you say, well, we're getting rid of high risk pool. Well, now everybody's high risk pool because you're letting them all in with the rest of the general population. Right. And sounds like that's what California does on insurance. Yeah. See, what I would do, I remember a time, this is probably 30 years ago, State Farm says, we're not writing any more Oklahoma policies. And I asked my agent, it was at Will Jesik's office, he's retired now. He said, look,
we've got to write more policies in other part of the states because we have developed such a high percentage of the Oklahoma market. We're overexposed.
Right.
So we're kind of holding back. So if you're a State Farm member, we will still insure you or your kids, this kind of thing, but general public.
What they've done now is start canceling your policies.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of people, you had a loss of this or this, and they cancel them.
Yeah, they do.
They have sustained billions of dollars of loss over the past probably 15 years.
Yeah.
I don't know how they've been able to continue to keep their rates as low as they were or even still are with as much underwriting-wise profitability. They're in the red.
Yeah, but at that time, I'm talking about sometime 20 years ago, they said we have to even out our risk.
Yeah, this was
so that we aren't. Not all the country has a disaster at once.
Well, but that's what I was saying about Texas. They even the rates out among the states so that the people in the Gulf area down there in southern and different areas can still afford their insurance. Otherwise, they'd be in the same situation as California.
See, if my competition, if I was an insurance underwriter, and my competition was saying one rate for the whole state, well, the way I compete against them is I'd say, no, we'll beat that rate, but you just say, Galveston, we're not writing policies in your county.
Yeah, but see, then you have problems with the insurance commissioner. Insurance commissioner says, wait a minute, the people in Galveston have as much right to have insurance as the people in Dallas or Springs, Sugarland, Texas, So no, you can't do that. That it just the insurance commissioners won't let you to be selective on who you get to insure, who you don't. The state insurance commissioners wants to make sure that everybody in the state has access. That's
a unique business thing where it's government regulated because if I was an airline, I don't have to serve the whole nation. I can pick which airport, which route. So
well, usually that is usually regulate differently. It's like the airports regulate that. And so, for example, it's, what do you call it? Gateways. Gate.
Mm-hmm.
You get gate authority. So, for example, United will have so many gates, American gets so many. And so if there are no gates, you don't get to.
No, I've just seen them drop flights off of their offerings. They no longer offer, for instance, I used to be able to fly from Tulsa to Minneapolis on Northwest.
Right.
Okay. Delta took them over there. They dropped that, nonstop.
Right. But somebody else picked it up. Oh, there are no direct flights.
I don't think anybody offers it anymore.
What was the old saying that Texas is so important that if you die, you have to stop at DFW before you go to heaven?
Other folks in Atlanta say that about
Atlanta. You could say the same. Atlanta, Chicago. Some of the weird ones are Denver. United is Denver.
Yeah,
and Cincinnati.
Northwest, it was Memphis.
Yeah, I flew through there coming from Germany.
Yep.
Anyway, we're wandering now. Well, any more races that we?
I think we stop on that.
Okay,
let's talk a little bit about this
World Cup.
Well, there's that. The centennial celebration included the UFC fight night at the White House.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that. That'll be interesting.
Look, I grew up 70s watching Rocky and Apollo Creed. And remember that original fight that went the distance with Apollo Creed? And both of them eyes are swollen shut and they're still blind. The title bout on UFC night, the last one, it was after midnight.
Oh, yeah, it was.
And I had never seen a UFC fight like that. And, ESPN.
They were in it to win it, right?
Yeah, ESPN.
It was gladiators. This was gladiator style.
So I read the reviews the next day at ESPN, and they're usually pretty cynical. And they said, listen, we listen to promoters pitch fights, and rarely do they match the hype, right? He said, this one matched the hype and went beyond. ESPN said that about it.
And what's so weird is if you read the leftist media, nobody was watching. It wasn't important. It wasn't any good. it was a travesty. You know, all the negative stuff.
Mm-hmm. I loved it. I mean, all the way through.
Well, the pageantry, even the beginning.
Oh, the videography.
The first time I've ever seen is they had the Blue Angels and the Thunderbirds flying together.
Yes,
that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, in fact, I remember watching as the president comes out with Dana White, and Dana sees that. Wow, you could see Dana was like a little kid Christmas morning.
And then they had Marine Band sitting there ringside.
With
playing.
Nashville performers. They're doing collaboratives.
Yeah. I think all of those who decided they weren't going to do it because, you know, it will blacklist them or something.
Yeah.
Were stupid because they'd have gotten.
Because Joe Rogan, this week on his podcast, looking back on it, he says it was the most bizarre thing. He said, we knew that afternoon that we were going to get hit with a big storm right about time you're just getting going. And he said they were talking like delays of like till 9:30 or 10 at night. He says, and then we decided, you know, we're going to go with it. If we have a stoppage, we do. He says, the storm's coming in. We've got all the ceremony starting. He says, and then the storm literally breaks in two and goes around the White House. And when you got Joe Rogan acting like this was an act of God, because he's pretty cynical about religious things, you know, there's something when Joe Rogan said it was, you know, indescribable. You can't explain it.
Yeah, no, stuff like that. Yeah, no.
And he said the cool thing is we could feel the wind, the energy and stuff. He says it actually felt good because, you know, it wasn't too hot, but it was okay. But and then, you know, all the fighters, he says this was one. There wasn't a single one that went the distance and went to decision of judges.
Through knockouts.
Yeah, and I mean everybody. I felt like gave their A game. I think there was one that I saw that, okay, this isn't a match. You know, one just they were not ready to fight each other. But I think at the end, you had this underdog American fighting against a guy that technically he's from like Turkey, but grew up in Spain, considers himself a Spaniard. And the Spaniard was a little bit smaller guy. Gaethje was in taller. I forget the guy's name. But anyway, Gaethje's a scrapper, a little bit bigger, and starts winning the first round. And I thought, oh my God, this can be an upset. And then the second round, they got him down and they're doing an arm bar and they're doing, you know, and I'm like, is this guy going to survive? And somehow he gets out, you know, ding, ding, you know, because these are like, what, 5-minute rounds?
Yeah.
They're long. And then a 1-minute break. And I thought, okay, cool. And then the third round back the other way so that the end of the third round, the champions bleeding badly. And they had to bring a doctor in. And the doctor says, oh, yeah, he can't see. And he's set to call the fight. And right away, manager says, we need a second doctor here. The second doctor says, no, I think he can fight.
Yeah.
So they go at it again. And he's just getting pummeled. And that's where you want to watch that fourth round. Oh, my goodness. Rocky and Apollo got nothing on this fight. It was that. I mean, you want to see gruesome. This was gruesome. And at the end of that, the fighter himself, the champion, says, I'm done. Because he couldn't see.
Yeah.
Both eyes bloody. And, because this is ultimate fighting, which means kicks and knees and everything.
Yeah, everything.
And sure enough, right towards the end of that fourth round, he takes a knee to the ribs full force, and I'm sure it had to bust ribs.
Yeah, you talk about gladiators. Gladiators had nothing on these guys. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, you might as well just let them go bare knuckle. Just those little pads they have on there. To me, that would add to the punch instead of taking. I'd rather get hit by somebody.
That protects the knuckles more than the guy's skull.
Yeah, because it's like unbelievable.
And what happens when they get him down? In boxing, you have to go to the far corner before they'll even start the 10 count.
They're still beating them and,
bam, bam, bam.
and kicking, kneeing.
Yes, everything.
Yeah,
and the refs have to really quick throw their body between the two to stop and save the guy's life.
Save his life, exactly. Save a life. I don't know.
But now Dana White said, because evidently Trump did this to where it didn't cost the taxpayer anything, or marginally. Dana said he went in the whole $30 million putting this on.
I can imagine all the pageantry.
Now, Dana said, Trump wanted to do it again, right? Let's do another one. Because, Trump loves this. He always went to
he used to go to them.
And he's on front row and everything. But Dana says it's going to take me a year to financially recover from this.
Yeah, but I tell you what, I think it's going to increase the viewership of UFC.
That's
bring in a whole bunch of people that you didn't have
That's
before.
What Dana needs. That's why he went in the hole on this.
Right.
Because he knew that his sport, which 10 years ago nobody knew, it was not worth anything. And he and a couple of his partners just turned it into something huge.
It's funny because the first time I knew that UFC was something, my wife and I went to a restaurant. It was kind of a pub restaurant. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it had TVs all around this room. Mm-hmm. And we actually wanted to watch the OU game.
Yeah.
Okay. And we figured, they're going to have all the OU game while we eat. They had the OU game on one little TV that we were barely able to see. Every other large screen and all of the things that we said, why is this not on the football game? And the place was packed out. Mm-hmm. And it was because UFC was coming on. It was some championship fight on. Mm-hmm. And every TV in the place except one in the corner, smaller one, had the OU game.
Yeah.
And we were saying, are you kidding me? I'm in Oklahoma and they're not watching. All these people are here not for the OU game. They were there for the Ultimate Fighting Championships. I was thinking, wow, I did not realize the sport was that big.
Here's the thing, Eddie. You and I grew up in the 60s and 70s when boxing, professional boxing was king, right? I mean, great.
Yeah, I remember.
And it was exciting and everything. Eddie, after watching this, you go back and watch some of those others. They were boring compared to this.
Oh, totally boring. Especially, when you got one of the guys that's
the rope-a-dope.
Rope-a-dope and then running, and the guy's chasing him the whole time. And then they may get a few, and most of the hits are missing, and this guy's like, and so they're hitting him here.
Yeah, and you got these puffy big boxing gloves.
Yeah, right. Yeah, this is gladiator stuff, and I don't know. I don't really enjoy it, to be honest with you, watching guys beat, and especially don't enjoy watching girls kick and hit each other.
So I got to say, I looked out when they would do shots of the crowd because Trump was not allowed to bring in this huge audience, into the White House grounds. They only seated 4,000, and other than select media types and stuff, it was military. Because they had the security clearance and everything. But in the Ellipse, which is a huge area, they packed in 85,000 people in the Ellipse on big screen. Yeah. And Dana did this first class. He spared no expense on this. And they had huge screens and everything. And all of the vendors and everything. Porta potties.
But just think of it, Dave. Basically, let's say rounded to 85,000 people watching Ultimate Fighting and the millions on TV too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty amazing.
I asked, we don't have numbers from Paramount Plus, who had the exclusive to it. Paramount Plus is part of the CBS empire. If they would have broadcast it, who knows? But Dana White signed an exclusive with Paramount Plus on this. So we still don't have those numbers. I think subscriptions had to have gone up for that. And I would like to see Paramount, put that out.
He probably will not end up losing as much as we initially thought. It usually comes back. Plus, there's video that people can buy and watch later.
Right. And Paramount, they probably, for them, for sure, it was a huge cash cow because they didn't have to pay for the fight.
Right.
They had signed the deal and this became part of the package. So this was a value added for them. Yeah. So they're like, thank God for this. So it's great for them. I would say when I looked at those crowds, there's probably for every woman I saw there was at least 20 men. So it's not for the faint of heart.
It's as it should be, I think.
And it's very much a guy's thing. Guys in their eye candy.
Yeah. Mamas, if you have your sons dating a girl and she's a UFC fan, tell your son to quit her right away because there's going to be problems. She may kick his butt at some point.
I'll be honest. There's a lot of women like my wife that says, you know what? If my first date with the guy was at a UFC fight, I'd probably find another guy.
Well, and that's the kind of woman you want.
Yeah. It's
because
like,
if you like a woman that likes to see guys beaten, pummeled, and bloody, then how violent is this guy that's taken me to the fight? Right, exactly.
If they're that big of a fan. But I don't know. I mean, I've never been a violent person. I still have an appreciation for it because I think it's part of the DNA of every man is, hey, if I have to defend myself and my loved ones, can I do it?
We need to wrap it up. I just know we're approaching 3 hours. Do we want to
Iran is the only other thing I want to talk about.
Okay, quickly.
So we thought we had a deal, and now I'm seeing Iran saying Hormuz must stay closed until 12 million is released and Israel leaves Lebanon.
Is it 12 million or billion?
12 billion, yeah. And Israel leaves Lebanon.
Yeah, well, that ain't happening. Look, I know it's kind of like a Hiroshima and Nagasaki deal. People are upset, or now in retrospect, at the civilian devastation that we killed these millions of people, or hundreds of thousands of people.
In World War II.
In World War II, yeah. But it ended the war.
Mm-hmm.
Iran will not bow and change its ways until it's got to be ultimate surrender. It's absolute surrender. You cannot play with them. You cannot take their word on anything.
Right.
And so you just got to go in, take a piece of ground, arm the resistance, call in the, what do you call them? The ones that are on northern Syria and over in northern.
Oh, the Kurds?
The Kurds. Get the Kurds involved to break in and break that up, because until you do that, this will go on forever. This can literally tear down the Trump administration.
The thing about the Kurds is they're for the Kurds. They're not for the Iranian people.
The friend of my friend is my friend.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a George Bush. The friend of my friend is my friend.
Yeah.
The friend of my enemy.
No, you're right. If
the enemy of my enemy is my friend is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. I think with the Kurds don't have the best interest of the Iranian people.
But right now, that's not what this is about.
I tell you what,
it will set free the Iranian people. And
I think the diversion, if the Kurds declare a big chunk of northwestern Iran as a homeland, and that becomes now something for the Iranian Guard to go fight against, then that could be a strategic, decoy. But I think you're at the point now where who's the fool? The person who thinks a piece of paper is worth anything with its punch? Does Trump want to be another Neville Chamberlain?
Right.
Because he's starting to look like one.
Yeah.
And
but see, the media is so disingenuous, because on one hand, they go after him for attacking the poor, innocent Iranians. And then when the Iranians don't submit or play ball, then they want to call Trump a pansy. So they're playing both ends of the spectrum here, trying to just whatever they can do to tear him down, they're trying to do. That's all they're trying to do.
And Kushner and what's the guy, his negotiator, Trump's lately is
not Marco.
No, forget who his negotiator was. That somebody.
Kushner is not a good negotiator, because you got a Jew trying to negotiate with radical Muslims. I mean, just think of it. I mean, that's silly.
Yeah,
No, seriously, why would you do that?
No,
why would
you're
you,
right.
Why would you have a Jewish person that hates the Muslim and the Muslims hate the Jews?
The funny thing is, according to the leftists, how dare you say that a Jewish person can't have that job?
That's true.
No, you're right. But no, it's this guy that Trump's had negotiating all of his stuff. Why can't I think of the guy's name? But he's over there with Kushner sitting in Switzerland waiting for the Iranians to show up. I just think their whole attempt was to play us for fools and to talk a great game, but then break their word all the time.
They're trying to, what they're stalling, because they see the world, the attitude of the world is turning. And to where we're the bad guys and we're delaying, and either we're brutal because we're harming women and children, or we're sissies because we won't do it. It's a no-win situation. So just go in, obliterate, set up a peace to where these guys will never recover from, or at least not in the next 100 years. That's what I mean. I'm sorry. I just have to say, I'm going biblical. I'm going Jericho.
Do you remember?
Wipe every man, woman, and child out if you have to. I know I sound terrible.
Okay.
But that's the only way these people will respond. They don't respond to anything else.
You're always using movie scenes for illustrations. You're the movie guy. But I'm going to take you to the scene at the restaurant with Jack Nicholson and Helen Hunt, As Good as It Gets. And she says, "Say something nice or I'm leaving now." And he says, "I started taking my medicine." And she looks at what? And he says, "You make me want to be a better man." And she swoons. And that's the nicest thing anybody's ever said about me. He says, "I was just aiming for enough to keep you from walking out." I think what happens, Trump has been literally minutes away from launching a land invasion.
Right.
And they tell him just enough to get him to stop what he's going to do.
Yeah.
And I think they're masters at manipulating.
Yeah. Well, it's not just them. It's this American media. The American media. He has become more concerned about the American media, and then, of course, with the fall elections, and than he is with anything else. And so he's afraid that if he goes in, and of course, then you're going to have the UN and all of the NATO, and everybody's going to be after him. So, but this is the last thing.
Yeah.
Jumping from that, it's related. What's funny is you've got all these Germans and foreigners here for the World Cup.
Yeah.
And they're just having the time of their life. There's a couple of them, and they're bloggers, and they're taking a tour of the South from town to town, and restaurant different, and they can't believe how friendly and how wonderful America is.
And because the food.
Right. Well,
American food.
Well, yeah, but on their video, it just shows how warm and welcoming all of the American people are, and they're writing this back. Now, we've got friends that live in Holland and in Germany, and they say their media is not talking about it. They're keeping it under, because America can't. They're just evil. They're evil capitalists, So they're trying to downplay it. But eventually it's going to get out because people go on web, they see these blogs back in Germany and in England and these places, they see it. And the people that come back are just going to say, "Oh, man, we had the most wonderful time. The Americans are so warm and wonderful." It's not anything what we see on, and slowly the word is going to get out. But that is what they're deathly afraid of in Europe, that America is seen in a new light because Trump is this evil dictator and people are just living in misery,
It'll get out. People will get back and they'll talk to their friends. Yeah. And this is going to be followed up here in the next year and a half with the Summer Olympics, which Oklahoma now plays a significant role because softball is going to be headquartered here in central Oklahoma with the Devon Stadium there where they have the College Women's World Series. Right. And then Norman, where Love Field is, that Love's Truck Stops people underwrote the cost of that. It is the top softball venue in the world. That's
That's where?
At Norman.
Oh,
the women's softball facility.
Yeah, they just built that new one. Yeah.
Yeah. And because keep in mind, it's kind of a half like little league baseball field, half Major League Baseball field. It's somewhere in the middle. The walls, and you can't just keep moving walls in and out, back and forth.
Right.
Nobody likes that.
Yeah.
They want a real stadium built for softball.
Yeah, which they got. And it's something I didn't realize and know until this year, that there's no mound.
Yes, no mound, and it's all dirt.
It's all flat. Yeah,
there's no infield grass.
Right.
Yeah, it's a different field. So I think that's going on. We would have had today legendary Steve Bias in, but he's such a baseball fan, and OU is in the championship. And
it's funny this year the softball doesn't make it, but
the last time, now back in 22, both men and women went to the finals. The women won, the men lost out to Ole Miss. Now it's Oklahoma, which is unranked, is up against North Carolina, which kind of wasn't a top rank, but they came out of the ACC. It was, the World Series is dominated by the SEC. And the bottom end of that was OU. And what do you know? OU's the only SEC team to make it to the championship. Best 2 out of 3. Game 1 is today. Neither team has any losses. So they got to win 2 and to be the champion. So that's going on. They're moving it up to 2:00 today. And Steve Bias says, guys, if you can't move this up, the show. So we got Steve coming in next week. And I'm looking
And then shortly thereafter, we will be having candidates once again, the runoff candidates. We will start having them in. Oh, no, we will. And looking forward. So set your timers, your calendars, and everything to look forward to those.
I think top of that, you got to say the governors are Mike and Gentner. Will extend the opportunity for them.
Yeah, let's put it this way: if Gentner will come, we know Mike will come.
But Gentner's people have a history of really limiting his exposure.
Oh, I know. I tried to get him before, and she backed out. So we'll see. We'll see how it works out this time. In fact, Gentner didn't even speak at the Tulsa Republican Men's Club. He didn't even speak there.
Now, I have to say, when Gentner ran against Mike Hunter, Trevor did the same thing, because I reached out. I was one of the first with the Republican Assembly, and they wouldn't even return my call. And then Gentner flat out told Trevor Worthen, no, I'm going to the groups. In fact, number one, call David Van, get me in front of the Republican Assembly. And Trevor literally says, you got to hire somebody else to do that. That's how Tomahawk.
Yeah, I didn't. I'm pretty sure it was Holly Gerard. I'm not Holly Gerard. What's Trevor's wife's name?
Oh, I forget.
Anyway, she was with him when he spoke he didn't speak. He was interviewed by the Tulsa County GOP campaign committee, where we interviewed all of them. And she was there. It's just a weird attitude. I don't know. There was others. Like I said, the best person that I met there, honestly, was what's his name? Charles McCall. Well, he was the most personable. He's the guy. I think if not enough people got to meet him.
You sure it wasn't Stephanie Alexander with Gentner?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah,
her husband has been a talk radio guy in Oklahoma City forever, Chad Alexander. Chad's former GOP state chair, and I know both of them. So, but yeah, so we've got that. I think we want to definitely get the education candidates, Franklin and now Dr. Taylor, get him in. For me, it'd be a great chance to catch up with him again. I worked on one of his first.
Yeah, I need to hear more from him, just to see where
he's saying something that is getting him traction. There's a reason he beat John Cox. We need to find that out.
Okay,
and beyond that, I think we just got a lot of great things going this summer. I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
So,
all right, everybody, have a great week. U.S. soccer is in full swing. Not just U.S. Olympic, World Cup soccer. They've been some really amazing.
Have they won 2 games now?
Yeah.
Okay, so are they gone?
It was
to
a 2-0 shutout last night against Australia. Australia's complaining and that the officiating wasn't. Just come on.
Well, of course,
it didn't have anything to do with it.
Because we're the home team now.
Well,
you know, you always
and when the home team is winning, then
By the way, what do they call that next round they go into? I forget. It's like the sudden death or something like that.
The elimination round.
Elimination.
It's like in the tournaments. Because see, in the first round, you have 4 teams, and each one plays 3 games. Mm-hmm. And then in the next round, which will be the semifinals, then the top 2 from each one move up.
Okay.
And then after that, it goes into the quarterfinals. And
so you play a 4-team round robin.
I'm sorry, quarterfinal, then semi.
You play a 4-team round robin.
Right.
Okay. And so does only one team advance out of that?
The
2
top
teams.
2.
Okay. So then you're down to 24 teams, right? And so
you'll be basically down to. Are there 48 there? I don't think there are 48 teams.
I thought it was.
I think you start with 24. I think there's 24 to begin. Mm-hmm. There's 6 groups of 4.
Okay. Yeah.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Yeah.
Well, quarterfinals is when you've got 8 teams left.
Right.
And we're not there yet.
No. We won't be. Everybody's just playing their second game. So
after this round robin, then you basically have to win 5 games to win it all.
5 more beyond this. Yeah, because after this, it's a sudden death.
Everybody plays ultimately as many as 5 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So good. All right. Well, let's call it a wrap and see you guys next week.
A wrap. Okay.
Okay.
We'll see you guys. Take care. Bye.